Corwin Christman.
What is up, everybody?
What's up, dude?
I'm back.
You are the first repeat non-consecutive guest. How honored do you feel?
I feel like $1,005,000
more.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
That's a random number.
I don't know. I just picked something. I don't know. Words are coming out. I don't know.
Your episode got a lot of traction for
Did
our
it?
720p or whatever our resolution was on that
Pretty bad.
episode.
I tried to watch and I was like, I'm going to listen.
We're 4K now. It's all good. We're all right.
That's right.
What's new, man?
Let's see. Last time the business was happening, but the business is booming even more. It's amazing. I could sit down and show you my call log, like while I work, like during my work days. Like I'll get 3 to 4 emails. I'll get 2 to 3 text messages. I'll get like between like 5 and 6 calls, somewhere's in there. It's insane. Like there's so much work for honest construction workers that communicate well, that do a good job. And I don't know, it's just nuts. So that's new. Hannah got a hip replacement, which that's pretty new.
Or hips new?
Yeah,
one of them.
One of them is new.
Oh man, that's no fun.
Yeah, that I am learning more and more how reliant I am on my spouse. Like I feel like the longer I've been married, the more I grow closer to her, the more like she's away and incapacitated for like all of 2 hours in a surgery. Like I'm not a super emotional guy when it comes to stuff like that. Like I'm pretty like even keeled. Obviously, I mean, everybody's kind of different in that area, but I've always been a pretty like, it's not a big deal. Man, she was in surgery for I think it was all of 45 minutes. And I was fine. Like I was okay. I wasn't going crazy or anything, but I wasn't my normal self. I wasn't happy to be there. I wasn't like I was praying and just like talking to the Lord and kind of searching within myself. It's like, why do I hate this so much? And I think I've just come to terms with like, I would not be okay if she died.
Yeah.
Like that's where my mind went. I was like, where would I be if she died during surgery? Like, okay, God, I know you're good and I know that you would take care of me, but I would be an absolute wreck. Like it gives you a sobering feeling when you're in that moment. It's like if she never like comes back, like she's gone. You know what I mean? What the heck am I going to do with my life? Thankfully, she woke up and she is recovering really, really well and doing good. It's stressful. Like we have 4 kids and they're amazing and they're great and we love them. They're loud, you know.
What?
I thought that's where you're going with this from the beginning part, and then you went like deeper and like actually meaningful. I was thinking more like my wife was sick for a couple of weeks, and I had to pick up a lot of the responsibilities that she has with our 2 littles.
Her surgery was during lunchtime,
and I really appreciate.
We just didn't eat lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No. I thought that's kind of how I would feel, but when you're there, like, and you're actually in the moment, you have so much. Every second goes by so slowly. It's crazy when you're looking at the clock for that kind of thing. Or I can't imagine, somebody who like Chris, who's gone through cancer and who's done all of the tests and had to go to the hospital multiple times, or Jordan Lego, who's been in surgery 3-4 times just for his heart, like open heart surgery twice and all these other crazy things. I can imagine how Delight feels in that. She's just sitting in the waiting room kind of like, well, they're ripping out my husband's heart right now. Literally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Crazy stuff. It just gives you a lot of time to think and reflect and be really thankful. Like I'm trying to be pretty giving anyways, like with my spouse and with my kids, but that's the kind of thing that makes you just like, I need to level up here. Like I need to be more thankful. I need to just serve more in some of those things. So that's crazy. We sold our house a month ago. Insane. We sold our house and moved into a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wait. 2-bedroom apartment with 6 family members in a 2-bedroom.
Crazy. Yep. Wilbur and Cheeky's there. We talked about them on the last podcast or my last podcast. And he was on here, 4 episodes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, their family is amazing, and they are letting us stay there while we're kind of transitioning, which is super cool. But 2-bedroom apartment, do not recommend it with 6 people. No matter how much you love each other.
The math isn't mathing on that.
The math isn't mathing. Plus, we're in the village, which, Lord bless my kids, but they love to scream and holler, and they love to just like run around and be like banshees.
Yeah, they're
Cruz
used to it.
is like the most amazing banshee in the world. He makes these noises. I don't know.
He's very good at it.
He's very good at it.
Yeah.
But he's used to having a whole property to just run around and like
Be loud.
be
a
loud,
kid.
be a kid, do the things that kids are supposed to be able to do. Well, the kids are riding up and down the sidewalk, and they rode over some lady's lawn a couple times. Hannah hollers over to him, "Hey guys, like you should probably like go up and ask her if it's okay that you ride on her lawn." Should it be an issue? Absolutely not. Like, you should be so thankful that your property has life on it, like kids riding their bikes. But okay, so the kids obey. They run up to house, couple houses up, and the lady, I think she was waiting there for them, because as soon as they like started up there, I saw like the window open, and like she was there talking to them, and they're like, "Hey, is it okay if we ride on your lawn?" Like before they even got the sentence out, she's like, "Stay off my lawn," and I was like, "Come this way, children.
Welcome to town, son.
Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you." No, not really. They're fine. They're pretty secure in themselves, so it wasn't a big deal. Yep. But I just said to them, I said, "Guys, this is why having a property is really nice. And when you're in town, you need to be conscious and courteous of other people. And like, that's not your lawn. You can't just go riding on people's lawns." So yeah, it's been a good learning curve for them, and it's been good for us to have lots of grace for loud children and that kind of stuff. So lots of new stuff. We bought a new property. It's like literally same day as we sold our other property. Bought a 78-acre parcel, which is about 10 minutes south of here in Glenfield.
Roger
we
that.
We ended up buying that. So
Let's go.
yeah, we're just, I know, dude, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's
5 minutes
crazy.
from him. I don't know what we are. I think we said 10 minutes from you.
Yeah.
Which is like,
Yeah,
what?
it is close that way too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can come right
Back
up,
roads. Yeah.
up Pine Grove Road to number 4.
Love it.
Let's go.
Go.
So maybe
That's nuts.
maybe we'll have a third guy joining this podcast.
Hey man,
Oh.
like don't invite yourself.
Hey, man.
I'm sorry.
You're very overstepping.
You're not that.
Yeah.
You're
Calm
not that
down.
cool.
Calm
That
down.
would be fun. That would be fun.
That would be a blast.
Life is good. It's very full. All of those things definitely have their challenges, but we're doing good. Good stuff.
How long do you estimate having to be in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 kids? Like a couple months. Closing process and all that.
One day longer than tomorrow is too much.
Like, do you like? I don't know. I'm not asking for any specific reason. I'm wondering. Like,
I'm a glutton
that would
for
be
punishment.
That's not. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's crazy. If we still lived at the trailer with
bro.
4 of our kids, like, I don't know. I'd go nuts.
Right, because that was a 2-bedroom.
yeah, and it's probably.
I'm going to mirror what I already said. I'm a glutton for punishment, and the house has to be renovated. So we're going to be here a little while.
Okay, so you plan to live in the apartment while you're renovating it?
Probably. And the nice thing about that, like Hannah and I went back and forth so much, and we're like, okay, do we just do the bare minimum and move in and then go room by room, which is a pretty common thing for somebody who's renovating while they live in a place. And then we were like, well, or we could like work nights and weekends. And by we, she said you would work nights and weekends. Renovating.
You had a mouse in your pocket?
Yeah. We. What is this we thing, darling? I love you.
You just
so
gotta tell her
much.
that you really value leaving work, not bringing work home.
Yeah.
Right.
The winter's coming, so she might be saying, her hip acting up and stuff, and it's a real thing. So
It is a real thing. That's true. The weather. Anyway, so my plan as of right now is to get in there and see what I can get done in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Stay at the apartment for 2 more weeks at least, or Jordan and Delight have invited us to stay there. My parents' house is open. We could stay there if it got really bad. I don't know. I think it's a growing experience for us to be in a tiny little apartment, and if we can sustain like joy for another 2 to 3 weeks after the house closes, I can get in there, rip everything out, and just get stuff kind of cleaned, and then in a good state where there's a working washer and dryer, there's a stove, there's a fridge,
And you won't be spending any time at the apartment, so it's a win-win.
Well, what I said to Hannah is I was like, listen, what we can do is we can just basically live there and we'll just go back to sleep. We'll go to the apartment to sleep, and then as soon as we wake up, I'll go to work. If you have stuff at the new house that you want to do, you can go take the kids. They can run outside, 78 acres. Like, just tell them to go out and play.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're used to doing anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Lots of crazy changes.
Really
yeah, that's wild. Okay, can we rewind? Can we go back a little bit and start on your first point? Not really. Although I did just learn to do that on the editing platform. It's pretty hilarious.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll put it like reverse and listen to Nick talk backwards.
It's about the only way you can understand anything I'm saying.
Okay, let's rewind and go back to the first thing that you said about your business. We'll start there for a minute. Yeah. You mentioned that there's such a huge demand for honest, organized, communicative businessmen.
Yep, there is. I'm sure everybody's heard the story where you call a contractor, you say, hey, I've got this thing that I need to have done, and the contractor says, yep, I'll come look at it sometime next week. And next week rolls around and you never hear from the contractor, and so you call him the following week, hey, just checking in, are you going to come over? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I got super busy. And so it goes another week, and then you're like, well, he's super busy, I'll let him go another week. And then you call him back, he's like, oh yeah, no, sorry, I've been doing this and that. And that repeats itself 3 or 4 times until you just are like, yeah, obviously this guy's not going to come and even look at my project.
Right.
So I don't do that. Our scheduling is it's concise. We communicate. There's so many processes of construction that communication is like literally the key in. And the first step is getting to the person's house and looking at what they have and saying, this is a project I'm either A, willing to do or not willing to do. It will cost you too much and you're not going to want to do it. Or, here's your options and here's the direction that we can go. And ultimately saying, okay, they do want an estimate from me of what this is going to cost. So you measure everything up, you take pictures, you put everything in your system, and then you go home, usually on off hours, late at night or early in the morning or whatever, do up the estimate, and then you send it back to them, and then they actually have that communication throughout the process. And from there, it's like, okay, if they want it done, you actually have to follow through with going and doing the job. I don't know. You don't see. I hear a lot of times, especially from my customers, like, wow, I've contacted so many other people. They never get back to me. They come, they give me an estimate, and then they never even come back to do the work. Like, I've heard of some people that get down payments for stuff, and the person just never comes back and does the work.
Yeah.
It sounds like a scam, but I honestly just think that it's just
negligence.
Poor business. Yeah. People that don't know how to actually follow through with what they're being asked to do. So I think that's largely the issue with the demand. The other thing I've heard a few different people talk about is like the people who are getting older to the place where they need a handyman. Maybe we should tell people that. Maybe they already know that. I run North Country Handyman. That's my business. So I do anything from changing a light bulb for you or changing out your air conditioner in the fall or in the spring to we just got done renovating an entire basement that got flooded and putting on a big porch with a roof and a whole bunch of stuff. So we kind of do everything.
You're like Bob the Builder. No job is too small. No job is too big.
Kind of. Except for we won't build an entire house
That's
yet.
what he says. Oh, okay.
We won't build an entire house yet. And we won't do...
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, we won't do big commercial jobs. Like, we wouldn't go in and build a Walmart or something like that. Cause,
really? That'd also be awesome.
That would also be awesome.
That would be cool. So, yeah, I think that the second part of what I was saying is the baby boomer generation are getting too old, and then the preceding, the next generation, next generation, they just don't know how to do this stuff because they were never taught, or they're too lazy to do it, or they have jobs that pay well enough to not need people to.
Who's after the boomers? Millennials? No.
Gen X.
Gen X, then millennial?
Yep. Gen Y and Gen Z. Yeah.
Gen Z.
So.
I think that's right. Most trades, our generations have no idea.
Yeah.
Much less, the generation in front of us. Because it seems like the boomers probably were pretty hands-on.
my dad's generation would be boomers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they know a lot of
A
things.
little older, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they'll
maybe.
fix it. They'll change their own oil. They'll do their own electrical work. They'll make their own tables. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carpentry's good. A lot of skills. We don't have those same skills anymore.
Yeah.
Too many iPads.
Yeah. We're very good at swiping on an iPad. though.
Probably. That's an interesting thought. It's just like what is this age called with the technology age?
Yeah. The tech age.
The tech age like has really altered the course of history and the last 3 generations.
One-to-one learning. I don't think it's going very well.
No.
That's what they say in schools, one-to-one learning. Like one device for one child. Everyone has access to technology. And I've heard firsthand accounts from people who work at local schools, none specified, just there are lots of local schools, that their view of one-to-one learning that they've seen firsthand is like, it's like the kid treats the iPad in school like they would at home. Mm-hmm. And the games are just more educational. I don't know. Like I'm not an expert and I'm not pretending to know, but I don't know where we thought this one-to-one learning thing would go besides like.
So one-to-one learning is one kid for one tablet or one computer.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. I remember this was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I think when the initiative was kind of big locally, at least I knew somebody who worked in the school who was really excited about it coming to Lowville. And I don't know, like I think it was lots of trepidation, and I don't want to I don't want to be an authority on it, but like, yeah, like I would be super skeptical of it too.
Yeah, it's hard to have a balance in a tech age to introduce technology in a safe and meaningful way.
Healthy way.
And when it's new and you haven't ever done it before, and it's like a new thing that everyone's trying to learn at the same time too, and it's like,
yeah, because you don't want to be left behind necessarily in a tech age with no tech skills at all, but you also don't want to be in a basement playing video games.
I don't know.
Unless you make a lot of money doing it, which some people do.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
I don't know if it's happening in like the younger grades. I'm trying to be really careful.
Yeah,
but like if it's happening in like the young. I remember what it was like to be in like kindergarten and first grade and second grade. It was like stimulating, and there was activity, and it was good. All the things that you would want for a child. Mm-hmm. And I feel like nowadays, like how much has the technology initiative in public schools taken the activity out of the younger grades? And it's like, that can't be good for them.
Yeah, I don't think it's super healthy. I think that's why
that's where it starts. And then like it just compounds from there. Like now we're just a generation that doesn't know how to do stuff because all we know how to do is stare at a phone.
Right, because nobody's figuring anything out for themselves anymore. No parent is saying, "Oh, hey, you don't know how to put the chain back on your bike? Go figure it out."
Yep.
Nobody's doing that because no kids are riding their bikes. They're all sitting on an iPad or watching
Ironically,
YouTube.
It's a great resource to figure out, to learn how to do these things. But like, I don't think it's being used as widely as people think it is to learn how to do this stuff. Like, yeah, they have an iPad and they have YouTube to learn this stuff, but like, I don't think that's happening as often as people think it is.
Happens a lot with me.
It does.
Happens a lot with me too.
It does. Like, and yep, I think when you get older and you're a little wiser and your brain develops, like,
right, yeah, sure.
You can maybe use these tools a little better, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be a healthy balance somewhere in there.
Wow, we got off a rabbit trail real quick.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
What were we even talking about?
We were talking about
definitely
business.
Like you were saying, like why the kids these days don't know how to fix any of their own crap. It's like, well, don't we all know why?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
and it's being taught. State, it's what's the word? State sanctioned or whatever. Now it's state sanctioned education.
Business.
What isn't these days? Anyway, go ahead.
Business. Anyway, so I just find
big market.
There's a lot of people who need help, and they either A, they don't know how to do it, B, they're too old and they don't have family members around that can help them with it, or C, they just don't have the time, but they have the resources, they have the money to pay you, and they're able to do that. I have a very wide variety of clients, and it's cool that it's growing to be all the way up from people that, like I talked about, needing help putting in an air conditioner. Like, we have a minimum that we charge. Lady called me on the phone. Hey, I really need help putting in my air conditioner. My husband's too old. Like, I really can't pick it up. And I'm like, okay.
That'd be tough. I'll come do it for you for free.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm super busy.
Yeah.
So I just said, hey, here's my minimum price. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't afford that. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna not come and do it for you. What do you feel like you can afford? Sure. Is what I said to her. Yeah. And so she paid me fractions of what I would normally get to do that kind of job. I don't even care. Like, it's not all about the money for me. Obviously, I still need, like, I'm out there with my truck, I'm out there with the crew, and even if it only takes us 15 minutes, that's still guys that are with me who have to get paid and who...
Lots of overhead. Yeah,
there's still overhead, so I need to get something for going out and doing that kind of thing, but I don't need to make any money on it. I don't need to get any profit for it, that kind of thing. Yeah. So all the way from there down to, I've done several jobs for a young couple who just recently got married, and they don't know how to do stuff. So they both have jobs that are good, and they just don't know how to do things. So I'm able to serve them, and then everybody in between that. So it's good. I get a lot of opportunity to show people a different work environment when I'm in their home. Like, if you get on Google and you read some of our reviews, like, some of the people type in there, like, it's crazy. Like, they sing and they're joking and they're having fun while they're working in my house. I've never had that kind of atmosphere, like, in a work environment before. And so that's just cool. Like, that's just a testament to the Holy Spirit working through us, just loving each other and loving the person that we're doing the work for. So, yeah, that's super fun.
Integrity goes a long ways.
Yeah, and that's the other part with communication. Like, we've broken a few things for people. We've done stuff that, it's accidents, and we just say, hey, we bring them over to the spot that we damaged. Say, hey, we're really sorry about this. Here's what happened. Like, we'll fix it. It's our cost. It's not going to cost you any of the time or materials. Not a big deal. As long as you're okay with it, we'll just fix it.
Yeah.
And, like, people, they're not used to that kind of integrity in a business. They would be more used to, like, if you want to know what went wrong, you're going to have to investigate yourself. Like, because nobody's ever going to tell you, hey, we messed up here. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I definitely see that a lot. Like, in the mornings when I leave for work, maybe I communicate too much, but
okay.
Like, I text my client when we leave in the morning, like, we're on our way to your house. At the end of the day, when I'm wrapping up and the guys are cleaning everything up, I go up and I talk to the customer and say, hey, just so you know, we're headed out for the day. Here's what our hours were. I'll finish up the bill and send that to you on the way. I usually bill, depending on what the job is, like, I'll bill at the end of each day so that they know how much money they have budgeted for this project. And if they need me to stop at any point, then we can sit down and discuss together, where's a good stopping point so that everything looks good, but maybe you ran out of money and we don't want to just leave, we don't want to just continue billing you hours when you don't have the money to pay for it.
Yep.
But we also want to serve you well and leave stuff in a cohesive state. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of communication that happens that way. I don't think I have hardly ever gotten a text message from somebody working on, like, my property saying, hey, we'll be there at this time, and then they actually show up at that time, or they text me ahead of time and say, hey, we're on our way. Like, I don't hear about that very often. So I don't know.
Yeah, you don't hear of over communication a lot in businesses that are well run.
Yeah, and even, like, in our billing, like, we itemize everything out. And Nick, you have a business, so you understand, like, it's a lot of work to itemize everything out and to put it all on the bill. Like, and what we tell people is, like, we don't upcharge for any of our stuff. The only way for me to prove that that's true is to take a picture of every receipt and have that in our file and say, here's what your bill was, here's what the hours cost you, here's what the supplies were, here's what we paid. All we're asking for back is what we already paid for your project.
Right.
Like, not very many people, I've never heard of another contractor doing that. I've only ever heard of 10% is basically the minimum upcharge, which a lot of contractors do that. That's kind of standard and normal, which I don't have any issue with that. I don't mind people upcharging their stuff, like mechanics. almost every mechanic upcharges their stuff, and that's part of how they make more money, which is perfectly fine with me. It's just not something that I wanted to do when I started the business. I'd rather charge a larger overhead, like hourly rate, and then just say, if you want to buy the products yourself, this is what you pay. If you want me to do it, that's fine. You're just going to pay me to go pick them up for you, kind of thing. Huh. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. We're going to lose feed in a second, but I want to keep on this train because I have a question about the way that you run your business and how it connects to your personality.
I love it.
That sound good?
I love it.
Roger. Okay, be right back. All right, we're back. Okay, so we wanted to keep going on the business train real quick. So what is it about your business that it sounds like a very detail-oriented business model, the way that you treat your clients and the way that you care about being transparent with them. So is that a personality thing? Is that something that you've seen carried out in another business? What is that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I haven't seen it carried out in another business, not in a construction business. I've worked a few different construction jobs over the years. I think I started when I was 14 with Brett Colasar, part of David Construction. I started doing roof. Yeah, I don't know if he's still even doing it or not, but
I think they're down in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yeah, maybe he is, maybe he's not. Anyways, I started doing construction at like 14 with him, doing roofs, shingles, that kind of thing. And I really don't remember how he ran his construction business. I know that part of it is detail oriented, but really the heart of why I do what I do with the business is I'm treating people the way that I would want to be treated if someone was coming to work on my house. And that's really the measuring stick that I use when and how I decide everything. Angelo Watson is working with me and we're in process. He's probably going to buy into the business fairly soon, which is really cool. So I know that he reached out to Nick and whatever his name is, your business partner.
Yeah. Mainline Electric. You reached out to Mainline Electric.
There you go.
Yeah, Jake. Me and Jake. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And obviously that wasn't a good time, but it was just crazy because after 4.5, 5 months now, like stuff is progressing really well with him. So like I utilize a lot of his.
Did we mention you though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's. I think you called me and just said, "Hey, just so you know, I don't know where you're at," because you and I had talked a little bit, and I was like, "That's right." I was already swamped. Like after being in business for a year, I was just swamped and needed somebody else.
I called you because I name dropped you.
Yeah, you did. You're like, "Hey, I just told." Yeah. Anyway, so integrity and just it's how I treat people, how I would want to be treated with business, and each step of the process. And now adding Angelo on, like he's in the same exact vein that I am. Like we just treat people the way that we want to be treated. The Bible says, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And we just use that. And I basically, each step, I'm like, okay, well, how would I want to be treated in this situation? And I kind of think about it. I'm like, this is how I would want to be treated. So then that's just what we do. And that's why we itemize every single thing. Because I'm very detail oriented when it comes to spending money. Like I don't like getting a bill and being like, hey, it cost you $1,500. Be like, okay, how much did I pay you for labor? How much was the tax? How much was each individual item? Like, I've gone through some very recent issues with vehicles, and I got, what's a good word? I got used.
Bamboozled.
Shafted.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go worse than bamboozled and shafted. I would go. This
is a family podcast, is it?
I would go used. I absolutely got used and abused, absolutely. And so, like with that situation, we don't need to get into that, but bless them, release them, forgive them. I hope the business prospers and God gets a hold of them. I don't want to get a piece of paper that says I charged you $10,000 and here's a couple of the items that we did. It's like, no.
There's A lot of people are on budgets. A lot of people want to know how much things are going to cost. And when there's a surprise bill of, okay, this is $700 more than I had thought it was.
Right.
And why wasn't I communicated with about that?
Right. Which is why, like, on a daily basis, we communicate about where the finances are at. Like, I went to an estimate the other day, and the lady calls me up. She called me up a month and a half ago, and she's like, I need somebody to come to my house now because I have this huge issue with my floor. Like, Lowe's came. They don't do any subfloor. They were going to install some new flooring for her, but the subfloor was rotted out. I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm 2 months out just getting there to do a quote for you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just too busy. I super felt bad for the lady. And finally I get over there. She had taken care of the flooring issue with somebody else, and she contacted somebody online who did the exact same thing that what I already talked about. She's being taken advantage of right now, basically, which sucks for her. But anyway, she wanted me to come and give her an estimate on painting her entire house. And so, like, we run through the process of everything and how we onboard our customers and what the communication looks like. And like, an estimate for me is not just walk in, take a couple pictures of your house, a couple measurements, and leave. Like, I was there for almost an hour. Like, this is all time that I don't get paid for. Just communicating with her, talking about how we work and just all those things. And then at the end, I just said, so do you have a budget that you're looking to spend? Because, like, there are a lot of times in situations when you're working with construction, if you get into something, like, you end up finding things that need more work. Mm-hmm. Painting's a little bit different. You can kind of read between the lines of that. But even painting, like, if you start painting a room and you find out that there's water damage somewhere, and then you find out that there is rot in the wall because water came in and now there's mold, and like, oh my gosh, my painting bill just turned into another $3,000 because you had to rip out all the walls, and it's just, it can happen.
Yep.
So just communicated with her and just said, do you have a budget? Like, are you on a fixed income? Like, how does the money work? Like, just communicating with her, just saying, hey, like, we need to know this stuff. Can you afford to have us come and do this? Because I don't want to get halfway through the project and have your house all halfway painted and then you run out of money or whatever the case is. So I think that's just, money's just a funny thing. You know, we don't have a lot of it, and the people that do have a lot of it are very careful and they want to be communicated well. And yeah. It's a funny thing about business, but it's a part of the business that you can't get away from. You have to build customers.
Yeah, I think we saw, just in researching the different ways that you can price things and how your book should look. I don't know if it was for electricians or if it was just trades in general. I'm pretty sure it must have been electricians, but the number was like, in a year, that your billable hours are 55% of your actual time spent working, which, and that depends on what you charge for. Some people don't do free estimates. It's very normal. A lot of people do. But you know, it depends on what you charge for. But basic stuff, like if you're somebody who doesn't charge for the drive time, that's, you know, if you're within 15 minutes, you're not charging for drive time, you're finding somewhere else in your overhead to cover that. Or you don't charge for estimates, or you technically don't charge for sourcing materials and supplies for people's jobs. Like whatever you're not charging for, it depends per person, but on average, only 55% of your time is billable hours. And that was kind of a wake up call.
Crazy.
Like, oh yeah, like, don't be careful not losing money faster than you think. Like, if what you're charging for is you're losing 45% off the top, you have to be careful in how you price things, and
right,
how you choose to price things, and how communicative you want to be and stuff. Yeah, it's a tightrope walk sometimes.
I think that if you're somebody who likes business and wants to get into business, and you have a heart for people, because no matter what you do, if you're in business, it's all about somebody else. It's all about a customer.
So I think a lot of contractors try to minimize, like, they know about that 55% time, and somehow or another, maybe they don't know specifically like we researched, but in general, they understand that a certain percentage of their time they're not making money on, and the effort to minimize that 45%, try to get it down to 35%, try to get it down to 25%, and it ends up turning into poor organization. They end up becoming somebody who's poorly organized. They don't communicate well. They're way too overbooked. They're scheduling poorly, so they're overbooked, and it's their own fault because they don't know how to tell people 3 months instead of 2 months. In an effort to make that billable hours percentage larger and larger, and their total time spent working, and it can backfire.
Yeah, because those are all pieces to your reputation.
Yeah,
if you have a tarnished reputation in a small community, pack it up. You're done.
Right.
You're done. It's like one of the things I love about small businesses in rural areas versus like an urban setting where clientele is just abundant. It's like if like a good example would, Tyson's actually said this before, and Tyson's been on the show, and he has talked a little bit about business with us, but he said that like I can't mistreat my people that come in the door. Not that he has the heart to, obviously he does not, but as soon as word gets out that you're scamming people or you're not reliable or you're not communicating properly or you're handing somebody a bill that's 3 times bigger than they thought it was, and you're done. You're done. Word travels too fast and people will know your reputation. They'll go somewhere else if they can.
Right. Which I want to say one thing about, I think it's very easy for you to circumvent and fix the problem of your bill being 3 times too high by doing one thing. Boop, boop, boop. Hello, Mr. Client. I'm sorry. I got to this place in your project and I found out this, and this. Hi, Mr. Client. Yeah, I took your wheels apart and turns out your entire frame is rotted out. In order for me to fix this, it's going to cost this much. Like,
how would you like to proceed?
Correct.
Put the wheels back on, pretend you never saw it.
What would you like me to do?
Right.
That's all in caring about that person that's attached to that car or that house or that money, whatever.
Yeah.
You have to care enough to call them.
That's tough. It's
hard.
I can't imagine. So many times you get into something small and something bigger exposes itself. I could not imagine having the nads to like proceed without.
No.
And then popping that $3,000 bill when they were expecting a $400 bill. Like,
so is it
where the courage to do that comes from? I'll never understand.
But so to your point before, is it that is their intention, or is that they're just incompetence and lack of communication?
Exactly. Which either one of those two things
gotten away with it too many
will
times.
kill your business eventually. In a, like you said, in a rural area, it'll kill your business because either A, you knew this ahead of time and you just, which
is what it looks like, by the way, to the client, is like, you're pulling the wool over my eyes.
Right.
Even
I'm
if it's
not the expert in this. You are. So therefore, okay, you come at me and now, like, what else am I supposed to do? Take you to court?
Yeah. Where is the line between like what you should have seen before you got into it? That can be like, that takes trust with the customer. Like, I promise I didn't know this was going to happen. Like, I don't know how sometimes that doesn't feel right either. So I don't know what the best
here's a situation. No job is too big or too small. What I tell people is we have a minimum.
Except for a building a Walmart.
Well, that's too big. That's too big.
Until they show you the contract numbers and you're like, you'll pay me what?
Yes,
so here we go. What we'll do is like, I will encourage customers to make a list. Like, write down, okay, you only have 2 outlets that you need me to change. You want me to go from just the standard old outlets to, you want it to be a USB outlet with also the outlets themselves. So, okay, that's going to take me a half an hour to 45 minutes to change those 2 out, including drive time. Say I live 5 minutes away. I'm going to run up the road. I'm going to do that quick. If I'm only at your house for a half an hour, like, you should make it worth it. My minimum is $150, we'll say. Like, why don't you have me do at least up to whatever my hour would take for me to do that? Or why don't you make a whole list? And then I'll just do that for an 8-hour day and we'll get 25 of your little projects done. To so many little projects that need to be done that you just walk by because you live there. And if you can get a contractor in your house that's willing to just spend the time doing those little things, like, you'll pay them. Absolutely, you'll pay them because you don't have time to do it. So that's what I'll tell people is just make a list and we'll come out and do that little thing. I did that with a lady. We went out. She had like 15 things on there. I planned to get them all done that day. She's like, well, I had one other thing that I wanted you to look at real quick. Over here where my porch meets my house, the floor feels a little bit squishy. I'm like, oh, dear Lord Jesus. I know where this is going real quick.
Yeah.
Sliding door.
Yeah, it's been leaking and rotting.
It's been leaking. I pull up one LVP sheet and I'm like, yep, that's rotted out completely. So what did I do? I nixed the entire list because she's like, there's water in my floor. Clearly. So I cut out the big portion of her floor, just the area that was rotted, squared everything off, pulled the old OSB off. There was standing water on the plastic sheathing that was separating the insulation from the OSB. Water like this thick that had been leaking in her floor. So what did I do? None of the stuff that was on her list. How am I supposed to know that that floor is rotted out? I'm not. She can clearly see that, and I communicated with her every step of the process. She was right there. So in that case, it's like, I don't think anybody expects you to know that it's been leaking and that there's water standing in her floor. A big thing is take pictures. Like if you have a business and something comes up that you had no idea was going to be there, just take a picture.
Wear a body cam.
Submit the footage after every job.
You're familiar with that. You're familiar with body cams.
Oh, yeah. Take pictures because that proves, that tells a story.
Yeah.
And it shows that, hey, I'm not hiding anything. Here's exactly what I saw, and here's what I did. 99% of people just want you to think logically and move forward with a logical plan. And obviously, you're the expert. If you come to my house as an electrician and you're like, oh, by the way, here's a picture of 2 wires that were all burnt out, and that's why your house almost burnt down last week. So it's going to cost you an extra $1,500 to go through and fix these areas and put this stuff back together. I'm going to be like, you're better than the fire department. I really like you.
They're usually too late. Just kidding. Yeah. Because the house is already burning.
Anyway, it's just like that situation. Just take a picture. It's integrity. It proves that what you're saying isn't bogus.
Yeah, and you're honest. Well, your customer acquisition cost, it has to factor into that 55% you were talking about before. Where if you're, oh man, that's going to make a lot of noise now. I bumped the microphone.
I'm sorry, everybody.
When you're honest and communicating the whole process out to them, well, guess who they're going to call the next time they have a problem?
Yep.
I'm sure they've been doing that.
Yep.
You got to treat it like a business.
So true.
And like, how does a business increase their billable hours? You could like outsource a lot of stuff you do. Like how many, like you're not charging for doing the books in your business. How many hours do you spend invoicing and doing books that you're not charging for? Communicating with customers. Well, a secretary could do that. And like you can grow your business that way, charge a little more for a premium service. Like being able to understand like a contracting company as just another potential scalable business where you can outsource a lot of your non-billable work. And then you can work more billable hours to profit on that stuff that you're paying. Hopefully you're profiting on those outsourced things. Like
to help cover your costs.
Have somebody answer phones. You hire a secretary.
Service,
have an estimator go out and do estimates instead of you. You can go do more billable hours. You can outsource your books to a bookkeeper. Like, I don't know. That's the way that I like to think about stuff is how can I outsource stuff?
I need to hang out with you more, Nick.
Well, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like a simple, I don't mean that. It's like a formula. Like, okay, if I want to get 75% billable hours, I need to do 20% less non-billable work. How do I do 20% less non-billable work? Well, if I didn't have to do the bookkeeping in my business, I could, that's 20% of my time. A bookkeeper, I could pay a bookkeeper less than what I'm not paying myself to not go out and work.
Which would do a lot of things, which would optimize your business, which would make it a premium service, which would also help you to cover that cost and make more profit for, okay, so you don't like your billing. Okay, now you have now you've got a CPA that does your taxes. Now you've got somebody else that does your
Wendy Hoskins does my taxes.
Yeah, all of a sudden 95% of your time is billable hours because you've outsourced to more profitable vendors who can do it way cheaper than you. You are not a bookkeeper. You can't tell me that you can do your books cheaper than a bookkeeper can. When you could go out and make, say you're in a city where you're making $200 an hour. Like you can go out and make $200 an hour, but you can pay a bookkeeper $500 a month to do your books. Like, hello. I think it's just, you gotta remember that the trades can also be scalable businesses.
I think that's where like you're talking about a premium service and
not so much a premium service, but just the fact, I did say that, but I want to backtrack. Just the fact that a bookkeeper is going to be way cheaper than you doing your own books. it's just a simple margin.
Well, the issue is I'm not charging my customers for doing my books. Like I try really hard to put my receipts for that job in while I'm there working because technically they should be paying for that.
Yeah. So you're not charging because you're the one doing it. But if you paid a bookkeeper $500 a month to do all of your books, and then you're working, and then during the time that you would normally be invoicing, you're out making money. You are making 100% more than you were making doing books. More than that, because you're actually losing money doing books.
So you actually don't have to charge your client more. It's just freeing up your ability
time to go out and continue making $100 an hour working because your bookkeeper's doing it way cheaper than you're costing yourself money, not paying yourself to do the books.
So when do you start that process? Because for me,
when your sales can support it,
I'm working my 40-ish hours and my other guys are working the same amount, and then I go home and I do my books and I do my invoices. I pay the employees.
How many hours a week is that?
Probably another 15.
Okay.
I would argue it's as simple as soon as you have the revenue.
I might as well just go out and work more.
Yes, as soon as you have the sales to support paying a bookkeeper, stop keeping your own books. Sales first.
There's a calculation. There's a calculation there, cost benefit for you. But yeah, it's in any business when there's growth. This is the exact formula people have to run through. Okay, if for our business, for example, Stephanie, when she was running it on her own, she was in the water instructing kids.
Right.
Okay. She brought 2 people on. All of a sudden, the book work started to add on 30 hours a week for her on top of her 30, whatever she was doing anyways. So then she had to start doing some cost benefit analysis on what is it going to take for me to maintain the same profit margins while I'm out of the water, not actually producing income.
Right.
Selling more sessions, right?
Selling more sessions or bringing on other people who can do her job, do the books in your case,
right,
for less than she would make so that she can focus on scaling the business in other areas.
Because that bookkeeper has scaled their business and allowed them to price their customers fairly because they're doing just as many customers as you are doing in your business, and everybody's doing each other's stuff for cheaper so everyone can make more money.
Let's go!
You can't possibly fit all of your invoicing and billing into your evenings, right? You've got to be spending some portion of the workday doing this stuff. So you objectively... you could be making money in those hours instead. If you're working 50 hours a week from 7 to 6 and then going home and doing all your books from 6 to 8 every day, that's a little tougher. You need to optimize your schedule. I would argue for the sake of your family life, outsource your stuff if you can, because it seems like if you're working 50 hours a week, you probably don't need to be doing your books. You've got this. You're at the point where your sales are supporting outsourcing your books, unless you're not charging enough. But if you're spending any amount of the workday where you could be out swinging a hammer, doing your books instead, and you have the sales and revenue to support the bill of a bookkeeper and the mental space to work with them, because that is a part of it too. Because they're going to need stuff from you. But you could be working instead of doing your books during the workday.
This is how you scale.
Yeah, and then you're getting more sales to outsource your next thing. Sometimes it's staff, which takes a lot of money. Like, because if you can't, you're going to have to start thinking about hiring guys, and being able to pay them fairly. And you definitely need the sales to support that. But at some point you are forced to outsource. And usually it's like labor. You need to outsource some of this labor because you as one person can only fill so many hours a week.
Right.
You can't be booked out 5 months. You can, but how much more money could you make if you had 2 guys and they could do that work? Then you can make, it's just like,
and it's
you're
not
big
even
enough to outsource at some point.
And it's not even about necessarily, like in your case, you don't really care so much about the profit.
Right.
How profitable you become personally or the business. But think about the lady who wanted her air condition moved and you didn't have time for it. Now you can really start to bless people.
Right.
Or you can really start to become more available to do the things that maybe would otherwise cost you. If that's your heart.
Yeah. If you had, if you had a few guys, helping you out and, taking on a lot of that labor load, it does free you up to do whatever you want. And if that's to bless people, you can go move air conditioners for free and still make money.
That's kind of the heart. That's where I would like to get. I I would rather just work myself out of the job as far as having to be on a job site every day. Like right now we have 3 other guys.
That's awesome, dude.
So we have 4 of us, and we're adding another one in December. So there will be 5. And 2 of those can kind of work on their own and probably wouldn't need me to be around as much, maybe for calls and checking in, that kind of thing. And the other 2 do. So if I could get myself and 4 other guys all to the place where they don't need me all the time, the goal would be to be able to go out and do those littler projects. And our heart is to, like, every other month on a Friday, just give away the entire Friday to somebody that needs help with a project or cleaning out a house or building a fence or something like that. Like
pro bono work.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
I would like to get to that place.
Yeah.
When you get to that place, let me know. I have a fence that needs to be built.
No, seriously. I mean, that's
We're going to
the way
listen
we
to
would
this
do it.
podcast and stop calling you and start waiting for the free work.
Yes. Just got to wait out his growth.
Unfortunately, it's only,
Well, it's sad to even say this, but we haven't gotten to the place where we have been able to take a Friday and do that. And I have a couple people on my heart that I'm like, man, I'd love to go and be able to just bless them. We had some financial setbacks with vehicles, and that took a large portion of our profit over a 3-month period. Basically, all the money that we had made on top of just salaries was
growing
gone,
pains, man.
like that.
Yep.
So that made it really difficult. Makes it so as the owner, it makes you feel like, oh, okay, well, now the things that I wanted to do we can't do because we need to bill more hours.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you feel like you are the best salesman in your company?
The best salesman?
Yeah, like if you're the one that's talking to the customer, you feel like the way that you treat customers really, like you feel like if you were on the, I'm asking you because what if you got to a point where like you weren't working on the job site at all, you were handling all of the sales? How much would your business grow, do you think? If you weren't the one, you are valuable. You're valuable as a laborer, super valuable. But like, it sounds to me like if you were on the phone with customers 40 hours a week, planning jobs, getting jobs, estimating, taking work, selling work, that would be the way your business could go. Not should go, but could go.
I just have to be confident in my workers that they're going to do the same level of work that I would be okay with. Because that's the other part of a business and integrity is like, you don't want to do work that they're going to call you back in 6 months and be like, why is this happening?
That would be growing pains for sure. Yep.
For
sure. That's a mobile office then.
Yeah.
Grab a
Because it sounds to me like if you
be on site and
you
still
could really
do
sell
that.
a lot of jobs if you spent more time selling jobs, and like you could outsource some of the labor. But it's got to be good work.
I don't even need to sell jobs. Like literally, I'm telling you, people just call me every
You'd also be
day.
you'd be the project manager, right? So you, instead of being 4 months out, you'd have 7 guys and only be 1 month out, and you're constantly selling jobs, and you're doing
sole
more work on
job
a
is
daily.
to
But
make sure
you
everything's
also
running.
then become the project manager because that's a lot of projects to manage over a 1 month period of time instead of 3 months. You have more guys, you're on more job sites, but you're also selling 3 times more because you're solely focused on that.
Which I think it is possible to get it to that place.
Yep.
Just needs some time and the right guys to be added
Wonder
that
if-
are like, hey,
There's actually ways too that you can run those numbers and see what
I
your
need to sit down
value is.
with
Yep. What your value is.
that stuff.
Everyone's
Oh, yeah.
laughing. Everyone listening is like contractors are laughing at us like it's so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. Go try it.
It sounds really difficult because of the project management side. And I think that's where they're laughing at us is like, you try to manage
Oh yeah.
8 projects at once. Like I get it.
16
But
employees.
Get really good at it and you could scale your business.
Here's
Like,
the thing though about you.
could do
This is
it.
what I feel. I do feel like most contractors don't have the organizational skills. This is any business, not just contractors, not picking on them.
Right.
They don't have the organizational skills. They don't have the attention to detail, the focus, the drive, the ability to keep everything. You're itemizing receipts. Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Right.
And like for a certain personality, I think it's doable. I think that a person who's very conscientious about the product that they're giving, how they're communicating, can make that work,
And-
where most people can't.
I think it seems like around here, as much as somebody might try to step into that role that we're talking about, for some reason, you still see them too many hours a week on the roof swinging a hammer. Like if you can I think that's where it goes sideways. Then all of a sudden you stepped into the world of doing too much. You're one of the laborers sometimes. Sometimes you're one of the estimators, and sometimes you're one of the project managers, when really you were supposed to be just the estimator and the project manager. You can keep yourself off the job site and really just focus on selling work, estimating, and then project managing the rest of the time. Maybe, and just like, don't be tempted to spend a day working here and there. Like, maybe you wouldn't feel so overwhelmed. I don't know.
Yeah,
because I think people get overwhelmed. It's overwhelming to do 3 things, like to do all 3. And then they're also doing their books and stuff. Like, outsource enough stuff and become the main salesman of your company and just focus on the sales. And then maybe even then you could get to a point where you could hire a project manager, and then you're all sales all the time.
That would be nice. Like, I'm trying to think about it because
it's a lot.
People
doesn't happen overnight.
People really enjoy knowing that I'm there and that they can come right to me.
That's a big challenge.
Get a hold of me. Like, how do you get around that part of it? Because, I sold myself to you because I have integrity. I'm very well spoken. I communicate really well, and I answer my phone. So when I'm not the one that shows up to the house.
I have an answer.
Yes. I didn't even finish answering the question.
Hire a phone calling service.
Oh my gosh.
Don't outsource to India. Don't do it.
I'm not going to do that.
You will.
I'm going to outsource to Krogan, though.
Yeah.
Those Kroganites.
Look, yeah.
I think you have to have a workforce that you pay really well, because paying a workforce well brings people that will want to stay and uphold the level of integrity that you're selling to the customer.
I'm not charging enough for my hourly rate.
I think you have to pay people. I think you have to pay your laborers like.
What do you think? What do you think going rate right now?
I don't think $20 an hour cuts it.
I'm not paying
$20. You want to have a revolving door of people and never have and people be mad that you're not the one there when they thought you were going to be, like, the whole problem you're describing. Pay your guys $20 an hour.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not paying $20 an hour.
Welcoming the problem.
I want to pay 30.
Yeah.
I want to pay 30 an hour starting.
Don't know what the number is. I can't say a hard number.
Industry standard is 22, I think, starting out.
That's bullcrap.
Maybe starting out. And 25 is the normal. Like, if you're a construction worker, you're getting $25 an hour.
For a handyman?
For construction work. Not for a handyman. No. A handyman's...
Less?
No.
Way more?
A handyman, like a single guy that goes and you look it up, I think is around 75 to... $90 an hour.
Really?
The dream is to attract quality labor that will uphold this level of integrity that you sell, the level of craftsmanship that you sell. And I think how you do that is you pay them well. And if you can outsource this and not, like, if you can find a way to offer health insurance, matching 401k, all that fun stuff, that I think is the key. Then if you can retain a quality workforce, people will have no problem that you're not there on the job site. But I think it starts with paying your guys well, offering some benefits if you can. I don't know what the number is. $30 an hour. Like, I don't know. Like, it's throwing darts at the wall, I think. There are people that would know that number better, but I think 30 is a lot better than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And if you can't pay $30 an hour, if you can only pay $20 an hour, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, you're doing the best you can, I'm sure, but like, maybe you're not charging enough.
That might be.
But also, don't just pay the crappy guy $30 an hour. You got to find quality people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not as easy as it sounds. But
yeah,
don't just give the gopher a raise. Like, find people who do quality work that you are proud to have representing you, and pay them $30 an hour. And then I would start paying them as much as you can, as soon as you can. And sometimes that means being careful not to undervalue the service that you're offering.
Yeah, that's
criminal for saying
it's all
that.
A balance.
Yeah,
like, you also don't want to overpay somebody who's not worth it, or who's not getting in the same production.
For sure.
But definitely what he's saying is right.
Yeah.
We pay our staff much higher than this industry standard, and I think that has paid us back an unbelievable dividends. Yeah, to where we can now explore even more expansion options and stuff like that, because we have staff around us that we can build with.
I would rather. This is going to sound crazy, but I would rather have a labor rate of $160 an hour and have to work my butt off to sell that number to a customer, if it meant paying our laborer $50 an hour. Like, what they deserve, and they can feed their family, and the work, as long as the work is $160 an hour work. Like, I would rather do that than to try to keep the local rate of $55 an hour and pay my guy $20 an hour, and he can barely feed his family on that. Like, I don't know. I think there's a mold to break there, and I wouldn't be afraid to break that mold.
I totally agree. And that is definitely like the down the road, the plan.
$160 an hour was a pretty wild number I threw out there.
Yeah. And are you hiring?
Yeah.
Because I have another business,
I don't think I meant that literally.
I'm going to quit and work for you.
But yeah, I'm just saying, in general, wouldn't be afraid to charge more than the electrician or the guy that you know down the street is. People are so afraid to outcharge their competition.
I think it's getting a little bit more time. I think a year and a half isn't quite enough time under my belt to be able to sell 100 plus an hour to customers. And
your work has to reflect it too. And that I'm not saying you're stressed, but I'm saying that is also a factor. You need rapport, and your craftsmanship needs to reflect it.
I don't. Well, yeah,
you got to get good at what you do.
We are not cabinet makers,
right?
Don't call me to make cabinets. Now, maybe I shouldn't say that, because if you want cabinets made, I'll find somebody to make you cabinets, and I'll make money on it somehow. Yeah. Like, that's just. I've taken a lot of jobs. Yeah, I've taken a lot of jobs that I didn't really know how to do, but I'm really good at figuring it out. I'm really good at YouTube, and I'm really good at making phone calls.
You're very conscientious too. Like you said before, how do I want my house to look? Calder, who was on with us, he says every flooring job that he goes to, is it good enough for my house? And I have high standards for my house.
Right. Yep, exactly. So therefore,
clip that. Boom. That was great.
Put Calder in there. There you go. I love that.
But clip it anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna clip it.
Anyway, we talked a lot about business.
Dude,
yeah.
I love it. It's great.
No,
we know
I love that.
Absolutely nothing. Just kidding. We know a little bit, but
we're starting to get
these
some
are all
business
just
portfolios
opinions.
together.
These are all just opinions.
No, opinions, but also like what you were saying is that you'll know kind of when you're worth that. Because if you start to get where you're not 2 months out, you're like 5 or 6 months out, then perhaps you're underselling yourself, your product, what you offer. The stuff that you do, nobody's doing, man. So anyway, that's enough business. Let's talk something fun. What do you want to talk about?
Oh,
let's watch laughing videos.
Oh no, we should have brought some make you laugh and put a bunch of C4 in our mouth, see if we spit all over each other. That's a thing.
That sounds terrible.
That didn't sound way worse than I thought.
For our mics to protect everything.
Have you seen those where like they'll?
Try not to laugh.
Nick and I are going to try to do like a try not to laugh thing and like challenge each other, find funny clips that we have to like, we know what they are, but the other person doesn't know.
Yeah, we have to vet the clips first. We can't just do it
I know.
live.
Okay, well, that's not going to work. But I'll come back for the next for that one.
Duh.
You were a pivotal part of that.
Yeah, you're very pivotal. Okay, let's talk something fun.
Here's something fun to talk about.
Business is fun.
Business is fun.
We already did
I'm not ready to be done.
What else do you want to talk about with business?
You're the guest. Whatever you say.
I'm no longer a guest. I'm basically like an invited co-host.
Yeah, right.
No, okay.
Yeah, you are.
Basically.
Wait. You were on episode 4 and episode 25.
It's not my fault.
It's been like
so
20
long.
episodes. Okay. What were you gonna say? What's fun to talk about?
We can always go into fitness.
I want to talk about something else. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually exactly what I was thinking. Let's talk fitness. What are you doing for fitness?
Fitness. I'm trying to fit this
something?
entire salad in my mouth right now, the one that's in my bag.
On the show. Well, all right, everybody.
Fitness salad in my mouth. What is wrong with that?
I feel like that could have gone a lot of ways.
We're doing the
everybody,
right
please tune in to watch Corwin eat a salad. We'll just sit here like
That's not fun.
Into the mic.
Oh my! There's SMR or whatever it's called.
ASMR.
ASMR, is that what it's called?
Yeah, dude, that's nuts, man.
Silly. How do they make millions of dollars on
Have
millions
you
of views?
Have you seen the ones where they like go up to a Beamer or like a Bentley and they like tap on it and they're like Bentley, and then they go like to the mirror and they're like Bentley. And now all these people are doing
the car door opening.
Yeah,
Bentley.
Bentley. Or it's like, oh, it's such great. It's a Bentley. Cool. And then now people are doing it with like Honda Civics. Honda Civic like falls apart.
I have never seen that.
Anyways, another tangent. Okay, so are you training for anything?
I just started training for competitive running. I'm going to do that next year.
About
Kiss
time.
your knees goodbye.
No, my knees
knowing
are
you.
good.
All right. Well, I don't care what you have to say until you ran 200 miles with broken shins, David Goggins.
Hashtag microfractures.
Oh my gosh. I
Hashtag
hope I
who's gonna
never
carry the
have to
boats?
run.
Hashtag carry the boats.
I hope I never have to run any
down
miles
Lonely
with any broken body parts. Although I did break my toe the other day, and I ran the same day that I broke it.
What? Time out. You can just, wait, what?
All
You just
right, I'm
said you've
listening.
never broken anything. You've never had to. And then you just said, well, I did break my toe the other day.
No. I was saying I've
Doesn't
never
count.
run with a broken
Oh.
body part. That's what I was saying.
Oh,
Wait, you have a broken toe right now?
Yeah, it's still broken. It's crazy, dude.
prove it.
Which foot?
Right foot, right here.
Which toe?
All right. Don't really prove
Pinky.
it. I don't want us to get
Oh,
taken
did
off
you
of
stub
YouTube.
it really bad?
Yeah.
Coffee table?
No, bed frame, dude.
Ooh,
It was
second
so
worst
bad.
after
It was
coffee
it was
table.
dark.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yes.
I want to talk about
Bed
pain
frames.
tolerances.
Oh,
My wife has had 2 babies. Arguably the most painful thing ever. And I love that she's going to listen.
Say
to
it
this.
Did you just say
again.
arguably?
Say it again.
Arguably. This is what they say. Childbirth is the most painful. I agree.
It's got to be.
When she stubs her toe on the side of the bed, you would have thought she got shot in the femur
While delivering a baby.
while delivering a baby. And it really makes me question the pain
Child
tolerance.
labor.
Is it that bad?
Well, I think
I
that-
love women.
Unmedicated.
I
It
think
definitely
that
is.
childbirth is so amazing and like the most amazing miracle that the human body can go through that I think it's actually supernatural. I honestly do.
Can we talk about pet peeves for a minute?
Sure.
That's what we're
hate it.
doing.
When you say supernatural, it reminds me, I hate it when people call unmedicated births natural.
Wait, unmedicated
bothers
birth's
me.
natural.
It's literally natural. Like that baby comes out naturally, whether you're unmedicated or medicated.
Well, the industry standard would be
It, it belittles mothers who decide to take medicine. Like let's call it unmedicated and not belittle them and say they didn't have a natural birth. They did have a natural birth. It
yeah.
was medicated.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I'm the new spokes.
All right, did
I'm
you
the
get,
new
did you get that out,
spokesman for
Nick? Do you feel better
It
now?
just bothers me, man. It just bothers
I'm
me.
glad that you opened
I
up.
just
don't
need to
want
make
the
sure
moms-
everybody knows I love my wife very much.
I don't want the moms that went through
Very
like,
proud of her.
It depends on the situation. Like there are some moms that will get medicine right away. I'd still call it natural, but like this is for all the moms out there that labor for 60 hours in pain, like every other birth, and then decide, all right, we got to do something about this pain. You're telling me that wasn't a natural birth? It sure was natural for 60 hours. It was natural the whole time, but like, let's call it unmedicated. Let's not tear down those moms that went through it like everybody else and say they didn't have a natural birth.
Fair enough.
There's no way I'm wrong on this.
I
There's
don't
no way.
even remember this ever being a thing. Like,
Nick went to a dark place.
Well, most pet peeves are only one person's thing. So.
Anyways, I thought that was funny because you stubbed your toe and actually broke your toe. It's a legitimate injury.
yeah, and then I ran on it that afternoon. So I do agree
So that's
with
a little bit
How
like
do you know you broke
Baby
it?
Goggins.
Time out. How
Baby-
do you, Baby Goggins? What'd you say, Baby
He's
Goggins?
Baby Goggins. He ran on a broken toe.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's not broken shins,
women
but
in pain tolerance it's interesting to me
Uh-oh.
because
we're getting into dicey areas.
they do go through childbirth, and it's like I would never want to do that. Did you know that they have
No way.
machines that you can hook a guy up to?
You want to
with
do it
these
on camera?
electrodes?
I have one
No.
here, actually. No, I have been tased, though.
I believed you for a
Yeah,
second.
that's true.
I believe
That's
you for a
pretty
second.
terrible.
But imagine being tased for like 40 hours. That's got to be what it's
no,
like. You don't think?
no, there's no,
Dude, walk,
50,000?
tread lightly.
50,000 volt.
dude, 50,000 volts going through your body literally locks your entire body up. Every single piece of your nervous system is in pain.
Okay,
Were
so
you-
here's
did you
how
have
you
to-
fix this. Here's your control. I have to tase Stephanie
And let her
and then
answer.
ask her how
never
it
gonna
compares.
happen.
Ask her how it compares to childbirth.
That's never gonna
It's not a
happen.
real control if we don't get all three of our wives in here. You need a sample size. You need a proper sample size.
Yes. We have to get him to
guys,
volunteer. though.
guys, we could totally pull that off. Hey guys, we're doing a girls only podcast.
I got a legit argument for for you might be right. Like, okay, so did you have to like hold people's hands when they tased you? 'cause they
No,
catch
aren't
fall?
you link arms?
Okay, all right. So I mean, imagine if you had to hold their hand, you would squeeze, right? Because that's what the taser does. It makes
Yes.
you
tense
think that
up.
would hurt harder than a woman in child labor squeezing their husband's hand? Absolutely not.
Say that again.
Like, who would squeeze harder? Somebody
the
being
guy getting
tased.
tased.
You ever hold your hand's wife during labor?
I've never held my hand's wife
Strength of
before.
Hercules when a woman holding your hand and squeezing in labor, you'll never, like a man will know no greater pain.
What is this? Which one?
What is this?
Which camera? Oh, okay, Roger. That's fine. That one's going. I'll reset them. And they didn't need new batteries, but okay. So you're saying that a woman in
Trying to be a
childbirth.
production guy? What?
I like
the
that.
crap was
Just trying to
that?
help.
Somebody
okay?
just slipped me something
Jeez, I
here.
was just trying to help.
Okay, so you're saying that.
Women gain the strength of Zeus when it comes to
Man,
hand
dude,
holding.
have you ever been tased? We can arrange that as well.
I haven't. I just know that
It
there's
hurts
no.
so
I've
bad.
never seen grown men cry, not like crying, but like screaming in pain.
Dude, pull it up.
I will not pull mine up.
Oh, come
Okay, you want to know how
on,
bad it
come
is?
on.
I pulled it up and I showed
don't
my
remember
mom
what you
and
showed
she
me.
started crying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
Because she thought I was like dying.
Any
If
self-respecting
it
mom would.
feels like it literally feels like you're dying. I'm not even kidding. Like 5 seconds it's not that long.
No.
It feels like eternity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and when you get done, you're literally sweating.
Yep.
You're making me want to try it.
Dude, it is
Dude,
not.
go to your local police department. They'll probably do it.
Don't
Probably
tell
would.
me. Don't tell
one
me
of the
that I don't
expired
want to do it.
cartridges or something.
I've seen people do it. Before.
Yeah,
they
I
do
mean,
it at high schools and stuff. Yeah. I've seen it in like maybe
You
college
could probably get
camps.
them. They're stupid expensive though. Those
I would.
cartridges, crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I would.
Did you
I
have the
would,
kind that like when you shot them, they were like confetti and they had like all the serial numbers on all the
Have to.
confetti?
I don't think that.
Did
I
you
don't
know
think
that?
that they make
No,
them
what?
anymore.
Yeah, when you shoot a taser cartridge, it shoots the probes, obviously,
Okay.
the barbs, and then it executes the current. That's
Right.
fine.
Yep.
But as it's shooting out, all these little like pieces of paper come flying out, and they all have serial numbers that trace back to that cartridge,
Okay.
so that you know where it was, which cartridge it was. It's kind of
What is
like
the point of the confetti?
It's like I don't know why it's confetti, just hard to pick up. There's so many pieces.
Well, they have to.
It's evidence.
Oh.
It's evidence.
It's like you can't. It's hard to get rid of evidence.
Yeah, if you
okay.
tase somebody, well, I mean, maybe this has changed in the last year and a half since I was a police officer, but if you tase somebody, not only do you have to get the probes and take them as evidence, but you have to gather. I think you have to gather at least 5 of those little pieces of confetti, and
Submit
you
them into
have
evidence.
you have to take the metal. What is it called? Metal wire.
Yep.
You have to take that, and you have to take the cartridge and put it all in an evidence bag, log it with everything else.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
You tase someone.
I never tased anybody. I was a part of it. Like I was always the one that went hands
It wasn't
on.
fun at the time.
Pigs in a
But,
blanket.
dude, you should get.
was
should,
so fun.
don't start. A cab.
Being tased is no fun.
Yeah. Well, I believe you.
Pain tolerance.
I want to try though.
Pain tolerance. I do agree. Like I think that something happens when you're giving birth and a woman knows, okay, the
Yeah.
only way out of this is to have this
Suffer.
baby.
I would venture to say that there are hormones that
Are released.
like release to
with
get
the pain?
you through the pain. I don't know if they help with the pain, but
Dude,
like
I don't know,
so
man.
you don't like die.
Like
Yeah.
just like watching
Mentally.
Stephanie, watching my wife go through that. Like, it's just, it's not even the level of pain. It's the length of pain. It's like every couple minutes for sometimes days for people. Like,
Yeah, Brielle's was how long?
Yeah, our first was
Hours?
total. It was like 68 hours, and a lot of that was like most of that was like very 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 slow progress. So it was pretty.
Yeah, that is no fun when you're sitting there in the hospital with your wife, and obviously they come in every 2 to 3 hours and check to see, okay, how much more dilated are you? They
Right,
check,
right.
they're like, oh yeah, you're 3 centimeters, and you come back 3 hours later, you're like, oh, this has been terrible. Yeah, you're 3
4.
centimeters.
Yeah. Oh,
You're like, wait, what?
Yep, that's what happened. We got stuck at. She's gonna correct me if I'm wrong, babe, but like I remember notably she was stuck at. We gave birth. We had a baby. We were pregnant. Shut up, man.
yeah, shut up.
You're not nothing.
Shut up, man.
Yeah, I remember we got there and it was like she labored at home for so many of the hours, and so then you go to the hospital and you're fully expecting like to have made some progress.
Yeah.
And then you get there and she was told 1 centimeter, and it was like the most discouraging thing ever.
Demoralizing, frustrating, discouraging. Oh,
It's awful.
Yeah, same thing happened to Stephanie a couple times. But then there was another. It's amazing the mental preparedness side of that. Like if you go in thinking that this is just going to be terrible, it's going to suck, it's going to be horrible, and you just got to embrace it and push through it. And no matter what the number is, that's so real for somebody in pain to be like, okay, I've been laboring for 4 hours. I was at a 2. I should at least be at a
6, yeah.
whatever they think. Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
They come in and
4,
say
5,
like
6.
you're still at 2.5, maybe, or a 3. It's just like crash.
Yeah. Right.
It's tough to.
It's a hard time to say that. Like you should probably just lie to them at that point. You're almost there. But the other thing is, I could see Stephanie's mood. This is the coolest part.
Yeah.
We got discouraging news like that. Like, okay, it's been 10, 12 hours and you're only progressed at 1 more centimeter, whatever. And then the doctor came in like a couple hours later, and what had happened was the nurse didn't do it necessarily right, and she was actually more like a 7.
Ooh.
And Stephanie's whole
Happens a
demeanor,
lot.
her whole she was like, I got this. Amazing. A little bit of encouragement.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And then she can do superhuman things.
Yep. I think
Crazy.
that's why it's so important for guys, like husbands, to be in there and be encouraging and like uplifting and be like, you can do this, and just helping with that stuff. I remember like for most of ours, I felt like it's important that I'm here. Like I can actually help her get through this. No, I can't endure the pain for her, but I can encourage her and be like, listen, this is not going to last forever. Like we can do this. I will be here. My hand will be broken, but that's okay because I love you and you're pushing out a baby.
Yeah. So you do endure a little bit of pain.
No.
Yeah.
A little.
Say 8. It's an
That's
8
cool.
again.
Okay, yeah, we got sidetracked, but I want to get out of the fitness van. You guys okay for time?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just fix the cameras, and then we'll get back because I want to talk about that after we get canceled for bashing on women, I guess, probably, or whatever it was. What? Who did that?
In support of women.
Yes.
My
All right.
unmedicated rant.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. All right. I think that we got to start this segment by just telling how much we understand that women have high pain tolerances and go through child.
Who here wants to give birth to any child anytime, anywhere is ever not me? Anybody else?
Enough said.
No? Okay, very good.
Enough said.
Okay.
All right, on to the next thing.
Women are
all right.
amazing.
We want to talk about fitness. We
You know what I fear?
we talked about your toe, and then that threw us off into a wild
Can
tangent.
we go back to pain tolerance? One of my biggest fears in life is ever having to deal with kidney stones.
Oh,
the idea of passing a kidney stone has like terrified me ever since I learned about it in like 7th grade health. Like lose sleep over it. Like I hope that if I ever did have to go through that, we would have advanced in technology to where like you don't have to pass them.
Vaporize it.
Yeah, like that's not a part of it anymore.
Kind of do. They have the sonar
but
stuff.
it still hurts though, right? Like they still have to pass them. Like does it get it to the point where it's painless?
No.
I would say like cut me open and just take my kidneys out. I can figure it out.
You kind of need those.
Anyway,
versus passing a
They
stone.
do say the closest thing for a guy
to childbirth
is kidney stones, which
I was right.
can kind of attest to that because not only have I been in the room when my wife was giving birth and I saw how painful that was.
You've had kidney stones.
I rode in the car. No, I rode in the car with my cousin Chet. And we rode all the way from Florida back to North Carolina. He had kidney stones. And he was making some of the same pain sounds that Hannah was making.
Really?
Yeah. Like he was throwing up. That's how bad it hurt.
It's also a consistent,
Yep.
hours and hours
Don't
and hours.
drink lots of water.
Yeah.
Drink lots of water.
And then you don't get kidney
drink
stones?
Coca-Cola or C4
What?
or
What? Diet sodas count?
they say anything that's not purified water can have calcium or metals in it that
I live in Martinsburg. It's the most calcified water on the planet.
Dude, buckle up.
Dude, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Can we have a podcast
My
when you're
fear
trying to
just
pass
got
your
like
stuff?
reactivated. I don't know. I don't know. Like I know it's super hard water. Does that mean
I
there's
think
calcium?
they
I
say
don't
as
know.
long as you drink enough for the water to filter that stuff out, everybody gets them. It's just they pass really, really tiny.
Oh, everybody's got to get them at some point. Not me.
It's a rite of passage.
Next thing, nope, you're gonna cut me open.
Okay, anyways, about fitness.
Drink lots of water.
How many times do we have to come back to fitness?
That's what I tell all of my clients that they have to do when they're on a program
Drink
is
a lot of
drink
water.
a gallon of water a day. Some of the smaller people, there's an actual
Not your
like
construction clients.
not what.
Like your construction clients?
Oh man, our ADD is running rampant.
Different clients.
There
Drink
is
water.
a certain amount of water per body weight.
Yes, Corwin also does a consulting like company for fitness. He's thinking
I
there's going to be
still-
confusion about which clients you're telling to drink water.
Everybody. I tell everybody to drink water. It's good for you.
You need a new deck. Have you drank enough water today?
It's hot out. You should go get some water. Water's important. Fitness. I have decided to put my money where my mouth is. Put my mouth where my money is?
No, you got
Nope.
it right the first time.
Okay.
Why did
I
you
thought
do
so.
that?
Yeah, now and then it got weird.
I've decided to get into some competitive running. Not like Olympian running, but competitive, like local, running some races. Probably next year. I got a coach for running. Same guy that I ran the Killington, Vermont Beast Spartan race. Same guy that I ran with. Awesome.
How far is
awesome. Nick, that's 21K. That was like 16 and a half miles.
That's up a mountain. Killington's a mountain.
Killington's one of the harder ones.
Yep, the World Classics was there, or the World
We did the
Championship.
fourth hardest
For
one.
Spartan.
Killington is higher than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Killington's number 1.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
And that was a 21K, you said? You did a
Yeah.
10K.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
10K at
it
the
was
fourth hardest
double
one.
plus.
It's insane.
So running, I like
400%
to run.
harder at the hardest. Yeah, go ahead.
I like to run. I enjoy it. It's an easy way to get fitness in. I've never done competitive running. To do competitive running, you have to run really fast. I've been doing some research, and Zeke and I ran a 10K. It was the Woodsman's Field Days over in Boonville. Like, I don't know what it was, a month and a half ago. Super slow, like nothing fast at all. I was just running it for fun, and I knew that I had all these like things coming up: selling my house, hand and hip replacement, getting another house, moving into a little apartment,
Running a
crazy,
business, yep.
stupid busy, all that stuff. And literally, running is so easy. You put your headphones in, you put your shoes on, you start your watch, and you just run.
Is it the exercise that gets you the most bang for your buck? Is it the most efficient for cardiovascular fitness,
Time-wise.
and calories spent?
Time-wise, yeah.
Time-wise, it
swimming.
is.
That's what I meant.
It ain't easy getting to the local high school pool to swim.
No. So time-wise, it
Time-wise,
is.
yeah.
What
Like
does it
the-
compare to swimming? How close
Swimming,
is it?
they say, is the absolute best anaerobic workout that you can get that doesn't hurt your body.
Yeah, that's because that was the caveat I was going to say. So because it's good on your joints, it's less.
The next one is
impactful.
biking.
I love bike cycling.
So
Biking is
is
fun.
swimming not proportionate
Let's see.
to wear and tear on body, but is swimming just straight up anaerobically, is it better than running?
I'm going to find out for you. I'm going to fact
Because
check you right
I've
now.
never swam and like my lungs start burning.
I think it is because it's
comparable.
oxygen deprivation, which forces you to endure cardiovascularly a more robust like oxygen intake, your VO2 max,
Your body has to learn how to use their
yes,
the
that's called your
oxygen
SpO2.
more efficiently because you're
Yes,
getting less of it.
correct.
Your muscles and stuff.
It has to learn how to utilize that oxygen properly with less. That's why people who do elevation training are almost always more fit than people who don't. And that's why a lot of professionals will go to higher elevations
Like
to
Kenya.
train. Yep.
That's why the Kenyans run
That
so
makes
well.
sense.
Or Colorado in the mountains. And
Yep. Yeah, Leadville 100. We're going to have somebody on who just completed that running.
really, who?
His name's Greg Panowitz.
Greg Benowitz?
That's pretty
You
awesome.
know
No.
him? He ran the Leadville 100
That's amazing.
under like sub 24 hours, I think.
Okay, wow.
Very impressive.
That's
Anyways, okay,
stupid.
so running
That sounds
and
like something you would do.
it
amazing.
says running and swimming, 100 miles
That's crazy.
up a mountain, up the steepest elevation in North America.
You know what that
in
makes me think
USA.
of?
It's in Colorado.
You know what that makes me think of? Ouch.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says that swimming a freestyle for 30 minutes burns the same amount of calories as running on a treadmill 6.5 miles an hour for 30 minutes. So it's pretty much the same thing.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised. I would have thought swimming was like, I would have thought it was like running for an hour.
Yeah,
Here's
so
the
you don't
thing,
know what you're
though.
talking about.
Look
I'm an
at
idiot.
calories burned. Look at calories burned. Look at heart rate.
That's what it says, calories spent.
Okay, which
Yeah.
is the
I
exact
would
same.
I would still imagine, I mean, it sounds like they're two comparable things.
It's got to be better for your
VO2
joints,
max,
though.
Yeah.
definitely better for
Especially
your
as
joints to
you
swim.
age. If you want to run.
My problem with running is my joints,
Yep.
my ankles, my hips, my
knees.
knees. Yeah,
ITB. Is the
maybe I need to run on not on roads.
Yeah, that'd help.
Maybe trail
Save
running
your right
and
ankle a little bit. Or the middle of the road. You can ride the middle
Evan
of the road.
texted me a little while ago.
bottom
Him and I
leaf.
have been talking back and forth. He's run with me a few different times, and we're gonna do some trail runs. He wants to get into trail running a little bit, so him and I are gonna run together doing some trails.
yeah, call me and then I'll tell you that I don't want to go.
Sounds too much like hiking.
Okay. So when did you decide that, like, okay, so from the outside, I know a couple of people in my life who I'm like, they should compete endurance. Calder's one of those. That kid is insane. His motor doesn't stop. He's very fast and very strong for his size. And you're the other one. Same reasons. Like, you're very fast, you're very strong, and you have a motor that doesn't seem to stop.
Yeah.
So, like, when did that, you just decide, okay, I'm going to compete?
I've always had a heart for people, and the reason like that I've done a lot of the things that I've done has been because of other people. Like, I want to motivate other people, not just myself. And I've always kind of said in the back of my mind, well, if I wasn't with so-and-so running, or if I wasn't with so-and-so working out, or if I wasn't with so-and-so doing this, then I would be able to push myself to the absolute max. And like having those thoughts in your head for so long, and then kind of like confronting yourself in your mind saying, why do you keep saying this? Like, if you're legit and you think that you could win something or do something and be number one on a race or whatever, then go train for it, go do it. And so that's kind of something that I've said in my mind to myself is like, okay, well, if I was running by myself, I would run this faster. If I was running by myself, I would push myself a little bit more. I would work a little bit harder.
That's how I felt during the Spartan run. It's like, gosh.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's my problem is
Guys slow me down.
I love bringing other people into fitness. Like, I love that more than I think I would love standing number one on stage. However, I've said it to myself enough times, if I was just training by myself right now, like, how good can I be? How good could I get? And actually, I think the top age for runners is 34. So I'm really not that far off from, like, competing at a high level.
Like the prime, you mean?
Yeah.
Like your
Yes,
prime
for
34.
endurance running.
Well, I think you
endurance
do
running.
pretty darn good because our Spartan run was like by no means competitive. Like, we weren't going to finish first, but we finished in the top 17 percentile.
Yeah.
So if you were able to go at full capacity that day, you would have gained quite a few more percentiles. I imagine
probably.
If the four of us finished in the 17th percentile, like, what did you finish? Didn't you finish tops? What were the results of your other Spartan races?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
I could probably look it up.
So
I
are you
think I
going
was
to be
top 5%.
Yeah, I mean, like, you
Okay.
could, you just need, with more like dedicated
focused
training,
training,
Yes. So
Sounds reasonable.
I got that, like I was saying, I got the trainer, and super, super inexpensive. I'm basically just blessing him to put all my workouts in for me. Like, he texted me and did the same thing that I do for everybody else that contacts me, is like, hey, can you help me? I usually say, hey, do you want me to just like send you a few things and just help you out a little bit? It's not going to cost anything. I'll just send you some information and you can create the workouts yourself. He did the same thing, and he said, if you want me to do check-ins with you and create the workouts for you and do all of that, then it's going to be whatever it was, like $250 for 3 months or something like that. Super, super cheap. And I was like, it's worth it for me to just know that this is what I'm doing today. I'd rather pay you, which is what a lot of people do for me. It's so funny. Like, everybody needs a coach. If they're training for something, you need to have a coach. It doesn't matter how good you are. Conor McGregor has a coach. You know what I mean? Who are some other crazy, amazing, like fighters that they wouldn't just go on their own and do it. They would get a coach, or even like professional baseball players. They have coaches who help them and teach them and probably know less about the sport than they do, but you still work together on it. Or like a caddy in golf. Like, you have a caddy that helps you and talks through things like you just do. It's just what you do. So having him on board with me is super cool. He's run a lot, and he's run in college, he's run in high school. He's a really, really good runner, and he still runs pretty competitively. So it's cool to have him just kind of sending me the workouts, and I just kind of plug and play to them. They're really, really, really short right now. Like I think I told you the other day, most of them are like between 3 and 5 miles, and I'm running, I don't know, 20-ish miles a week. So like 5-6 days a week. And most of what my running is doing right now is building a threshold base,
Right.
which means my MAF 140 formula, which is you take 180 and then you take your age, subtract it from that, and then your heart rate during the easy run shouldn't go over that.
Okay.
Which for me is 146. So like my 3 mile run, my heart rate is not supposed to go over 146. It does sometimes, like if I'm inclining a hill and I'm trying to keep the same speed, I have to slow down. It's all about building your aerobic base. There's this thing about running faster. To run faster, you have to run slower for longer and for more miles. So it's just about building up your aerobic base. So that's what I'm doing right now, a lot of that. I actually have a race this Saturday, which is a like a fitness test is what Nick called it. It's just a 5K. I'm training for 10Ks because that's what I'd like to be competitive in, which to be competitive in a 10K, you have to be running at about 5:05 to 5:15 pace. So,
Where?
What?
Where?
In this area.
That's nuts.
That's almost a sprint for like 6 miles.
That's fast.
Ooh, around,
Yeah, it's really fast.
Five, I mean, yeah, that's like
the guy from Rome ran the Woodsman's Field Days, the 10K. He ran it in 32:30, I think. He was the one that
traveling runners
won it.
love it so much
That's
they go
fast.
over. 5-minute miles is insane.
Yeah, that's fast.
That's really fast. And here's the thing, though. That's what you need if you want to be competitive.
Do you like
Is that your
the
goal?
kind of like mid endurance, like 6 miles, or like does an ultra marathon ever sound something interesting?
I don't have the time to be competitive in an ultramarathon. To complete it, absolutely. Like if you called me up and said, hey, I'm going to do an ultramarathon next year. Do you want to do it with me? I would say it doesn't matter when it is. Just sign me up and I'll make sure that my schedule's free. Like I just love doing anything with other people like that. For this kind of thing, it would be easier to be training with somebody else that had the same goal as me. Like if Nick said, hey,
Sure.
I would love to train with you to be competitive.
Which Nick? Me or this new best friend that you have apparently? His name is also Nick.
This new best
Nick's
friend.
feeling so insecure right
This
now.
new best friend, Nick Hall, he lives in Pennsylvania, so we can't run together.
Oh, there you go, Nick. So whatever.
Damn, too bad.
Too bad he's not closer.
No, but if I found somebody else that would run with me and
Yeah.
would train consistently, like I would prefer to do that. I would rather run competitively with somebody else as opposed to competitively by myself.
That's why I'm so afraid that you live 5 minutes away now.
You're gonna get roped in.
He's gonna be like, "Come run with me. I want to go run a light 15 miles. You in?" I'm like,
That's the nice thing with a 10K, dude. It's so short. It's 6 miles.
so short.
6.2.
But
so
it
short.
is. It does have to be very fast if it's going to be
Yeah.
competitive.
So is your training supposed to get you to around a 5.5 minute mile or?
My goal is to be at 32 minutes for six.
Dang, dude.
For 6.2 miles, which would
You'll be like a professional runner. at
which
that
would
point.
work out to be just over 5-minute miles. I think it's 5.5.
Dude, I will come watch you run a 5-minute mile. I will. That would be so cool. If you could,
Dude, they're putting a track in.
I know. Right behind where I'm living.
if
Well,
you,
right
that would
beside
be.
where I'm living.
Do you,
Yeah.
dude? Do you know? Like, this is just how I think about this stuff. But like, I wouldn't even say if. When you get to that point and you're running this 5-minute mile and you do that right, you know what percentage of humans on the planet, what club you'll have joined?
Yeah, tiny.
Like,
Yeah, tiny.
I would love to know how many people can run a 5-minute mile. It's
if
a
you-
very small club.
yeah.
I bet. Like that. Dude, you'll be elite.
Dude, if
That's
if
awesome.
95% of people don't sprint after the age of 30, what are you talking about already?
Yeah.
So every athlete on the planet who does, that's a small percentage already. A lot of them aren't runners. A lot of them don't run speed work. A lot of them are, ultra marathon, it's a lot different style. Dude, it'd be like 1% of 1%.
It's gotta
Tiny.
be. It's gotta
Yeah,
be.
I'm excited. It's something that I could still, at my age, conceivably do at a very high level, which is why it's like, okay, the guy who won the Spartan Race World Series, or whatever they call it, championships, he was in his late 40s, early 50s, and he won. So like there are things that you can do at a later age that you could be competitive on, and running is one of like the top things.
Which is so funny because like running is a very injury prone thing, but like often runners, maybe it's how early they start, so like their bodies adapt or whatever. But like running seems people go into their 40s and 50s and 60s still running, but like it's very counterintuitive because people the running injuries are so rampant, but like people go on and on. Avid runners can seem to run well into their middle
part
ages.
of it is recovery. I think part of it is recovery. The people that can do it really long term, they're eating well, they're sleeping well, and they're exercising, and they're stretching their body out in the places that they need to. I think that's what really converts into longevity and fitness, is taking care of your body. That's really what I think it is. So, which I have not been doing very well lately, because like you noticed today, I literally ran and got in the shower right before you picked me up.
We drove shirtless over here. He drove shirtless over here. Didn't have time to put the t-shirt on.
Are you sure you have wanted to said that? Or?
It smelled really good.
Hey, I did get a shower, so it's all good. Anyway,
I'm fascinated by endurance running. Like
that's cool.
A lot of the people that I watch on YouTube, that's what they're doing. Like the hybrid stuff. I'm just
the Nick Bear.
Another Nick.
Dude, he's crazy.
Yep.
Shame.
Bear.
After Cam Hanes obviously is a big one, but the rock he carries up the mountain.
Yeah, the big
After
boulder.
doing the 70 pound,
the Spartan ruck
after
carry.
doing the 7-pound ruck carry, was that like what is an eighth a mile downhill and an eighth a mile back up the same elevation? Was brutal. And there were guys that were way more muscular than me doing it right along. Like it was hard for everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got a new I was thinking of that rock because I've seen that video before where like his son carries it up, or he has people. Andrew Huberman did it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that can't be that hard.
Oh, dude.
And then I did that. How much does the rock weigh? It was like a 70-pound rock, right?
It might be 100.
And how far do they carry it again?
Far, like all the way up the mountain.
Uphill.
Like I don't know if one carries it up, one carries it down, or they switch halfway. Some crazy.
Yeah, so
thing.
he has his guests do it, or his son will do it, and every morning apparently he does it.
That's part of his
he
workout.
runs 20 plus miles every day,
and he starts the day off with carrying this rock up the hill, I think. But it's much
crazy.
like what we did, but like I'm sure it's longer than a quarter mile. And before I was like, this is a stupid rock. That's not that hard. And then we did that, and I was like, holy
Crazy.
cannoli.
Your heart, like when you're in that situation, not only is your body like so fatigued, but you walk like 3 steps and your heart rate is at max.
Yeah.
You're at 175.
It was amazing. It's
crazy.
I want to go back to the endurance thing because that was great. But anyway, real quick, it was amazing to me how quickly your body recovers. Like you're doing things like in sets. You did it in much fewer sets than the rest of us, but we did that walk in sets. You'd walk 50 feet, drop the bag, and rest for 30 seconds. Yeah. I tangibly noticed and was amazed because like during the Spartan run, you're like all of a sudden finally in tune with how your body's working. All of a sudden, you're like, what? Crap. It's just awful. Anyway, during this ruck thing, as I'm resting, the recovery that occurred in 30 seconds was mind blowing because you end the set like I can't go another step, right. But then 30 seconds later you begin the next one thinking I can maybe make it to the top of the hill. Like the recovery that your body is able to do in 30 seconds, the human body is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Anyway, is that who you mean? Like guys like Cam Hanes that do those endurance running things, but they're like muscular and they're fit.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're not like skinny runner guys. Like they've
But like I'm equally as impressed by somebody who's smaller stature, like Greg when he comes on, that can just like run 100 miles for 23 and a half hours. Like I just don't. I am in awe of the athletic capabilities that it takes to do that. I can do a lot of things athletically that's pretty great and is good, but like it just seems so out of reach.
Endurance stuff.
I don't even understand it.
I think that you would be pretty surprised if you put a goal in your mind and you just said, there is no option for me to quit this.
Like just sign up for something, start training.
Just when we're done with this podcast, we're going to go run 20 miles. There is no option. We're going to go run 20 miles. If I don't do it, then I don't know, put something in your mind. You could do it.
No,
I have an option.
To not just,
and
just
the option is
to.
no.
I want out of this one.
and all I'm saying is our minds are pretty amazing. Like if you put your mind to something, you can do it.
Yeah. I saw a video of a kid that like had never like just ran a marathon and like did zero training. It was like, watch my brother run a marathon without any training. And like one of those guys that can just hop in and do it.
Yep.
He ran 26 miles, no training, not a runner. Like, yeah, you put your mind to something, you can do it. Sometimes you get hurt. Sometimes you could get hurt. It's not always wise, but like you can do more than you think. David Goggins says that you usually like you only, when you've hit your breaking point, the average person has really only hit 40%.
Yeah.
Your breaking point is actually 60% away.
You don't know me, son.
41%. I'm broken.
Yeah.
I'm broken.
So you're right. Yeah. There's more.
So when your body says, or when your mind says, I'm done, your body has 60% more.
Your mind thinks you're done, but you're not.
Tyson told me, and I can't remember who he quoted, so I would like to give proper props to whoever it was. But he said, your discipline is your mind telling your body who's in charge.
Yeah.
That's Tyson.
Yep.
That's
Tyson. But like, I don't think he originated that.
I don't know. We can just give it to him.
Because he told me. I don't remember who said this. So, okay. So you're looking to do more like local things, or is it Spartan races, or is it?
I am going to sign up for another Spartan race. There's one coming up in April.
Do they do a 50K?
They do. Yep.
It's the secret one, right?
That's the ultra.
Yeah.
How many miles?
It's not part of the medal.
That is
so
20,
ultra, it's so secret. It's not part of the medal.
That's
get your own
31
get your own
miles.
Wappen medal for that
29, 30,
31.
31. That's a long.
one. Yeah, that's very
That's long. I would probably do it if somebody else wanted to. I wouldn't sign up for it just by myself and try and convince other people to do it.
Yep.
How long is that
Jason is running the 21K, the 16 mile. In April.
Okay.
And so he already signed up for it. He said, hey, do you want to do this with me? Jason, the guy that ran the 10K with us.
Okay.
So it was me.
He's awesome.
Jason, Nick, and Evan.
He's like 40 in his 40s.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I love that.
He's ripped. Yeah.
I love to see that.
Yeah.
He's tall.
Like I want to be.
He's like
one of my
dude.
biggest goals for fitness and anything that I'm doing is that I want to be in the best shape of my life tomorrow. Like next year, I want to be in better shape than I was this year. I want to be like 45 and being like, I think I'm in the best shape I've ever been. Mm-hmm. Like even more than my 20s.
Yeah. Which is
pretty
possible.
good goal.
You really don't start deteriorating. I think statistically, you really don't start deteriorating or going down to the point where you can't get better till you're in your 60s.
You mean till when like the aging it goes much faster than without some kind of supplementation, obviously.
Sure. Yep. Sure.
Because we're natties here.
not for
no
long.
fake natties.
Not for long.
That makes sense because like your body has different rates of deterioration or regression health wise, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yes. Well,
your metabolism, your regenerative,
your testosterone starts to go down a lot quicker.
Is it all supposed to happen at the same rate and we just frick it up with all of our modern pharmaceuticals and food and stuff?
There could be. Talk to Chris Gethin. He is all about.
I'll have him on.
There you go. Get him on here. He's all about the all natural stuff. Like he's almost 50 and he looks like he's in his late 30s. So he's got some weird thoughts too, but
all natural. Dude's ripped.
He's
insane. He claims natural. Okay. We're not in the natty or knots here. We'll let Greg Doucette do that.
Yeah, Greg Doucette can keep doing that.
So funny.
Dude, speaking of which, did you see Nippard get
throat chopped twice?
You know who that is?
Yeah, Jeff Nippard.
Jeff Nippard.
Yeah.
Science-based fitness.
He's super big YouTube guy.
Yeah.
Huge. And fitness.
Yep. Massive. Yeah. He's the science-based lifter guy.
Yeah, he got assaulted.
He got assaulted. What happened?
It's hilarious. Another guy who's like the exact opposite. He's kind of a meathead, but dude's jacked. And huge. Credit to him, knows what he's doing. But he's like, you know,
he was making fun of the science.
He was making fun of science-based guys and how their results are never as good as the just do it guys. And Jeff Nippard made a very
rebuttal video.
He's a super even like level-headed, like not confrontational guy. He made a response video saying like, I know I don't need to respond to this, but I'm going to, and then laid out some like very modest response. And happened to be working out in the same gym as this guy like the next day or a couple days later or a week later. And the guy approached him and was like, got confrontational and like hit him twice and his cameraman for, you know, put your money where your mouth is, bro. Like for no reason. Like it wasn't even like that's what the response was. Like he elicited that kind of response from Jeff.
It all seems pretty legit. Like
he pressed charges and everything.
Yep. Some people feel like
assault, brother.
Some people feel like they can put your hands on people.
Depends on what state it is. Yeah. Did he get hurt?
He went to the hospital and had like a CT scan and was fine, but
I mean, pain is subjective. We already talked about that, kind of.
Yeah, it depends on
It has to cause injury. Yeah, assaults have to cause injury.
Everybody,
in New York, assault is you have to actually have
damages.
You have to have.
But nowadays, what's popular
So
is
what? It's a breach.
protracted disfigurement.
It would be.
You have to have, or you have to have a pain level that the verbiage is like needs to be treated with medication.
Correct.
Basically.
Yeah.
So if you don't go to the hospital,
at the
there's no
minimum,
proof.
there would be a risk of injury charge, and there would be a like disorderly charge, and
Oh yeah, there's it's harassment. It's just a violation. But anyways, yes. Silly
legit
stuff.
though. Like when you do something like that to somebody, you do not know the long-term health effects that you may not see it right away.
Sure.
But throat chopping somebody really, really hard twice,
He punched him in the throat.
he like hit him like this. He went boom.
What?
Twice. He fell down. He got
Yeah,
back
dude.
up and he did it.
We'll show it
again.
to you after. I'll show it to you.
Oh
after.
You
my
don't when you
gosh.
do something that violent like that. Like if I were to punch you in the arm twice, like it's
Well,
a little
that's
different.
that's not a
Right. If you throat punch somebody twice and you're 300 pounds
You
and
can
the
kill somebody
strongest
by
guy in the
doing that.
building, you don't know if you just hurt him 20 years from now.
Right.
Right. Like you don't know. That's a
You
tough
can
one.
kill somebody by hitting them right here.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
So he may not be hurt now, but like, could there be some long-term ramifications? Yeah. Like I wouldn't.
yeah,
It's not
probably
not
possible.
far. It's not a stretch to
That's
worry about
that's
it.
one of the hard things with car accidents too. Like, you
Right.
know, oh, I wasn't injured, and then a week later they're in the hospital, and then
Insurance companies have a field day with that
Yep.
garbage.
Well, they're always like every fender bender. That's why everybody goes to the hospital.
You got to have it all
I'll
documented.
check it on it later because actually sometimes pain doesn't come for a while.
Yep.
Especially when we're talking about neck
Shock.
and back pains.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Anyway.
dude, that's cool. So, okay, so when is the next one? This weekend.
This is just Nick called it a fitness test, like to
Okay.
see where my fitness is at.
Dude,
my
nice.
goal is to run it probably just over 6-minute mile pace. So I should be able to complete it. I would like to do it in under 20 minutes. My ultimate goal would be to run it at 6-minute mile pace, which would put me just over 18.
A real stellar 5K would be like 14, 15 minutes.
That would be like
man.
The 32-minute 10K.
A 15 5K would be like there's not very many people who are beating you, and you're probably going to win it.
Yeah.
Are there like purses to win?
I don't think so. This is
I know
in
that Spartan
Lowville.
Race does.
Spartan Race does. They do
Dude, this
a
is-
few $1,000s.
This is what I'm talking about with my brother, Calder.
Competitive racing.
We decided to, on a whim, do it in Ocean City, Maryland, because we happened to be staying there.
Yep. So
he did
fun.
the entire. It's a 5K. It's a sprint, but he did the whole thing in Crocs.
Yep.
White
Beach,
Crocs.
boardwalk,
Let's go.
road, the whole thing in Crocs. Blew me out of the water totally. Like
Yeah.
he was waiting for me and all this stuff, and we still ended in like the in pretty good percentile, like pretty reasonable time. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, could you imagine if he actually tried? Number one,
Put some shoes on.
Yeah, put some shoes on, maybe.
Put some shoes
like,
on,
and actually
bro.
tried, and like I wasn't holding him back. But also, imagine if he trained
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
Like I would
Calder,
think he would compete for the podium.
He probably would do really,
A lot
really
of
well.
climbing obstacles, like
Oh,
bread and
dude,
butter.
you should see this guy.
Bread and butter.
He's like, oh, is that a rope? Like a 30-foot
I
rope?
love,
You just skedaddle
I
right
love
over it.
obstacles.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
That's what is so much fun about Spartan Race.
It was
You
fun.
run and then you do
it
the
was
obstacle.
pretty fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I even got spear throw this time, which means I didn't miss any obstacles. I was like,
I
throw,
tricked the
Calder did
moderator
that.
into giving me the spear throw.
I saw that.
I was I threw the spear and I hit that
on a throne of lies.
What did I do? I feel like in my mind I was like, oh, that should definitely count. And I was like, that counts, right? And she was like, sure.
She's like, you look
some-
pretty terrible, so I'm going to say yes.
What'd you have to do? You had to do a
Penalty,
walk
yeah,
as a
penalty
run.
loop.
We had to do
Penalty loops were not that bad.
Burpees.
Right.
Yeah, they changed
They
that.
changed
only
that.
Competitive
Praise the
guys
Lord.
have to do burpees.
Yeah. They have a competitive heat. We did the open heat.
Yep.
And it
Because
was
I would
just
imagine at the
it was like
competitive,
an
like,
eighth
if you
of a
miss
mile
that,
jog.
if you miss the spear throw, like that's a huge
It
disadvantage.
is, yeah. I've watched some of the like online stuff and like the world championships, and those are cutthroat, bro. Like, those guys are running 5 and 6 minute mile pace
Oh,
for a Spartan. That means they're going up the hill. Like, that's insane.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy. So the one you're doing in April is where?
The one I'm doing in April, it's in New York, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere's in New York. I'll have to text Jason and see where stuff is at, because I do need to sign up for that. But I don't know when I'm going to like peak for my running stuff. The Spartan race will just kind of be added in there as another fitness challenge to see where I'm at.
It's such a science. It really is. Like
Peaking?
all of the anything running. Like so Nick Bear right now is training for High Rocks. Are you familiar with High Rocks?
I don't know that one. No.
So High Rocks is like kind of like CrossFit, but different.
All kinds of variations.
Yeah, a lot more sprinting.
Okay.
And it's kind of like you do like I think it's a 100-meter sprint, and then you do an obstacle, or you do a challenge. Like, so it'd be 200-pound sled push back and forth and back and forth. High Rocks is huge right now. It's like blowing up right now. But he was talking about how after that he has a half marathon, that he has a time in mind for that, and then a marathon after that. But the guy he was working with was talking about like these fitness challenges. He's like, I got a marathon in 6 months, but I have a different marathon as like a test 3 months from now, just to understand my threshold.
Fitness
And like,
test,
dude, this is so much to it, especially when those guys are talking about running marathons like sub 3, or like I think Nick Bear wants to run like a 2:30.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Marathon. Wow. And he's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, so props to
That
you,
would
man.
be like that's the dream, is to be like huge and
endurance.
you can run a 6-minute mile, 5.5-minute mile. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't get more like
You're optimal.
like peak fitness probably.
Yeah,
Optimal.
I'm past my. I think I'm past my desiring to be super big or
Those
that
are
kind of
good
thing.
days though.
Yeah,
When
I
we were
enjoyed.
in your gym all the time.
Yeah, I enjoyed lifting heavy and doing that stuff. I'm just more about the functional fitness stuff now, and see the health benefits.
Functional fitness.
That's a buzzword.
Functional. I know. I still like lifting, but it's just I don't know. I would rather be smaller and have a healthy heart.
Yeah.
That's and running. So it just benefits that. Push-ups, air squats. CrossFit actually helps that a lot too.
Yep.
You just need to stay away from the Olympic lifts that make your elbow go.
Oh yeah, those are no good.
Yeah, Brooke Wells. I don't know if you saw that or not, but she did the power snatch or something, and she freaking broke her elbow.
Well, they lock out and hyperextend their elbows like that. It's bound
Dude,
to
there's
happen.
no way that when we
With
look at
300
CrossFit,
pounds.
man. Oh, those guys.
And they work, and the intensity and time that they spend working out.
They're
it's
they're
to the
so
max.
fit.
I
It's
don't.
to the max.
The thing about CrossFit at that level, I don't understand is like from their mouths, they work out 6 hours a day, and like when does muscle growth stop happening?
It's not about muscle growth though. It's about
but they're
endurance.
huge. Like I'm like either they're juicing or they're superhuman, because like
Their bodies adapt.
it's crazy that they're able to maintain that level of muscle mass working out as much as they do.
When you like watch Rich Froning's regiments or stuff, when people are going over and try to train with him back when he was in the games, he would run through like 3 workouts and then another, and then like people just couldn't
Zero
hang with him. Like,
recovery
at
time.
at what point do you like
Diminishing
hypertrophy
returns.
have a peak somewhere?
See, and that's why it's not about muscle
don't
growth.
think it is.
Point.
It's
Yeah.
not about muscle growth. It's about strength and endurance.
Yep.
Like that's really all that it's about. And they're not looking for anything other than what is my threshold and can I lift it up a notch so that when the games come around, I can do 3 workouts a day and still be at this threshold.
Right.
That's what it is. They peak too though.
Oh yeah.
Like they're working out super, super hard, and then they'll take times off, and then they ramp up to the games, then they take a rest, and then they hit the games at their optimal. That's why you need a coach.
Yeah.
Oh, they all have coaches. Man, Matt Frazier and some of these guys are just
He's all done now.
Medeiros. Yeah, he's been done for
Justin, he missed a year or 2.
They don't do it very long. Those guys retire
CrossFit's
young.
changing. CrossFit is seriously. There's a guy that I was following for a while. He said like the trend is just not the right way. It's trending down big time.
Somebody died. That doesn't help.
Yeah,
But even before that, this has been for yeah. But this has been for years that like at least 3 years that CrossFit's just
Pat
not
Vellner's
capturing.
Pat Vellner's been a voice and saying stuff needs to change. Nobody's listening to him.
Just because the intensity that's promoted is not healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which honestly though, from like a professional athlete perspective, that is the point of professional athletics, is to push the envelope.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Unfortunately,
That's the reason guys in the MLB are all throwing over 100 miles an hour now. Is that good for them? No, it's not. They're going to get a lot more injuries. Their arms are going to hurt.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
that's just the sport.
It crossed the barrier of like professional sport to like community and what the average person is being promoted to do. And but you're right. It's exactly right. Those guys like Matt Frazier, that is the level that they need to be, that they are pushing themselves to professional sport.
If you want to win,
like almost like kind of, maybe they shot him. Yeah, right. They shot themselves in the foot by branding it as a community.
CrossFit does do stuff that's like, let's see how much we can push.
Yeah.
Them. And so that aspect, I think Vellner's got a really good point.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if they're promoting to the community.
A marathon.
Yeah. And then they post the CrossFit workout of the day that isn't always as intense as that, but that's for Joe Blow at home to do. Like they've years of promoting as a community. Is it safe for the general public now, not just the professional athletes?
I don't
know, maybe it's a branding issue.
I think the professional athletes that have spoken up about different things, their voices have gone unheard. And that is the problem. If you have professional athletes and they're all saying the same thing, and the promoters of that sport aren't listening, and then there's injuries that happen because of it, and then somebody dies because of it.
You're saying that even the professional athletes are saying this is no bueno.
Yeah, the professional athletes they have a few different issues. One of them is the safety of different things. And I have seen CrossFit like close something down because it was unsafe. Like it was raining one time, and so they canceled that event because it was unsafe. But I've also seen where Pat Vellner's been like, this isn't safe, guys. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. And actually 2 years ago when they did the water, not only the people, the sportsmen, but the casters who were talking about it were like, wow, this is super unsafe. Yeah. Because you have 45 people all swimming.
Yep.
And
how do you keep track of all of them? How do you keep
track of them all? You can't, which is what happened.
I would imagine, especially to, like, I guess it's part of the sport, swimming, pretty big part of CrossFit for some reason.
But have more heats.
I don't know. Yeah, have more heats. Maybe you can monitor them more closely. But have you ever watched like an Ironman? The amount of people in the water, and it's like, how are these people? I don't know, man.
There's not really anything safe about saying, "Hey, snatch this 300-pound barbell weight as fast as you can because it's a race." Like. That's not a very safe activity. And also,
it's all to the max. Everything's to the max. Like it's all competition. And, when they're doing cleans and all that, it's against somebody else and they have to do more weight. And you're pushing your body to that limit. You're going to get hurt. I'm okay
with some of that stuff. Like if the threshold for injuries to not injuries is super low, I'm okay with some of that stuff. The other thing that Pat Vellner was saying was like, it's not being fairly judged. That was another big issue, like especially with the new way that they're sending in their videos and everything.
I remember that.
So like the number 1 through 10 get judged like crazy and will have points deducted or time deducted. But the person who does 50th might be way worse than those people who did 10, but they don't even watch that far down the line. So it's just basically saying like the way that you do it, it has to be standard across the board, which is why the other professional sports have it a lot better.
Yep.
And
football has had the same problem. They've had to make a lot of adjustments because of safety reasons. And I guess you could say too that like if a sport like baseball, let's say, plays 162 regular season games, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
If all of a sudden MLB was like basically for profit reasons or for whatever, it's like we're going to 200. And then all the players are like, no. And then they just made them do it anyway. And then all these guys started getting hurt more often. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah. Isn't the guy that the CEO of CrossFit or the founder of CrossFit, like, he doesn't work out or is not a health guy?
Castro?
Is that right? Isn't there something funny about that? Like, he doesn't even do CrossFit himself. Yeah. So, I don't know.
But they have a new CEO. They've had a new CEO for a few years who does.
But they did bring him back to write workouts.
He's still
workouts?
He's still like the director, something, director, CrossFit director, but they had a new CEO 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an art. Writing workouts for the CrossFit Games is a little bit of an art. Like putting certain tests together with certain other things.
They test them too, by the way, with professional athletes. Like I know
who
that
couldn't quite make it to the games, but who are we're very close.
Yeah, I did that once for him.
Yeah, you did, Nick. Would you ever be interested in running? Like, I know we ran the Spartan race together, but
I agree with you that don't ask me this when you're moving 5 minutes away from me. It's happening. He's like, let's go run 20 miles right now, Nick.
Peer pressure.
I'm going to get a text at 5 in the morning tomorrow. Let's go. Hey, I'm 5 minutes away. You want to go for a 26-mile run? I agree with you. What's really enticing to me about it is how easy it is. You're right. You just put a watch on and go for a run. There's no driving to the gym. There's no driving to the pool. I literally walk out your front door and go for a run. That I really do like. And
it's optimizing your fitness time for the rest of the day.
Great for weight management.
The biggest.
It's great for time management. It's I'm a big believer in hitting the pavement for weight management, and running is. And I have enjoyed running in the past when I have stuck with it, and it becomes more of a routine. I'm not opposed to it.
Let's go.
Do I see myself running? Do I see myself doing any serious regimented training in the near future with like where the family life is at? I don't know. Same boat as what you're in. Okay. Committing to something official would be tough right now. Yeah. But using it as the main form of exercise, it's running has always been very enticing for me. Yeah. It's easy. It's super easy.
That's really the only reason, not the only reason. I do like to run. I enjoy it. That's one of the biggest reasons right now is just I can't get to a gym.
Yeah.
I can't spend an hour in a gym.
I don't have the time, and all of my weights are all in the garage stacked up in storage. So, like, if I had a gym in the house right now, I would still work out in my gym.
Thank goodness that push-ups are great for maintaining full body muscle mass. Air squats and push-ups.
Dude, Dr. Rhonda Patrick just said something wild about air squats. A study came out. It's like something like doing 10 air squats like every hour or something. Like quick. 10 air squats. What does that take? 15 seconds? 10 air squats?
Yeah, 10 seconds if you're doing one every second.
Okay. Gives you better anaerobic fitness than working out on a treadmill for 30 minutes.
Do you have to do that?
I don't know the specifics. I don't want to push it. Yes.
Oh, just 8 hours or 12 hours.
Every hour?
That's 80 air squats.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which would take normally how long?
80 air squats.
You had us do 300 one time, and
3 minutes.
I passed out at 100. So then that was an extra 20 minutes till I woke up, and then I did it.
I did 80 air squats, and I passed out for 20 minutes, so it kind of works out. Anyway, interesting. I don't know the exact numbers.
A long time,
have to look it up.
You should be able to do 60 air squats in 60
if you're healthy.
seconds if you're in really good shape.
Yeah. If you're not.
No more imams when you come over. I would rather go running. But I don't like running that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we should probably wrap up.
For somebody who doesn't like running, you love to watch endurance sports, so you're probably going to have to get into it at some point.
I know.
Dude, there's a lot of things I've been getting into to watch that
I
do not want to do. Like, running.
There you go. I live vicariously through them.
Spartan runs, number one.
I love the prep of it. Honestly, I think that's the big part of it. Yeah. Like, I like watching all that goes into it and the prep, and then I'm just kind of astounded at how unbelievable what they're doing is. Yeah. Like 100 miles. I think Nick Bear's run 100 miles. Mm-hmm. He's done those.
Leadville,
he did Leadville. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What did he just do? He just did one where he was going through the night, right? And
yeah, but it was
a mile. Like every mile.
That's his own personal thing. Yeah, like every mile you have to make it under a certain time, and the last man standing, pretty much.
Last man standing. That's what it's called.
And the last guy was like 50 something miles.
He won it.
Wait.
Oh, Nick won it.
What happened?
Oh yeah, you have to run the mile in under
a certain amount of time,
under 7 minutes. And everybody that runs it gets to run the next mile.
And then if you don't complete one, because over time you get slower.
You're out. If you don't get to complete one, you're out.
Correct.
Right. If you don't complete it in the time cap,
you're done. So it's like last man standing. You just keep going. Keep going all these loops. 1 mile
Get to
loops.
a point where you're just like, all right, I don't want to be doing this anymore.
Well, yeah, like 100 miles.
So they 50 miles or whatever was what they lasted.
I can't remember. I don't remember. They've done it a few times. I know a different guy just won it.
What's their rest time in between each mile?
Not much.
I don't remember. It's like 10 minutes, I think.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
Yeah. It sounds fun to do it for like 2 miles.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I'm out. Sorry, guys.
I actually have a great place to do that, like down at the fairgrounds. At the track at the fairgrounds would be a great, like...
Yeah, but the new track they're putting in would be even...
Oh, right, yeah. That one's a half
Okay.
mile
All right.
track,
So
yeah.
I'm just going to start committing to running more. Honestly, though, if I did start running more, but my knees and everything started hurting, I don't know if that's just my shoes. I don't know if that's the pavement I'm running on. And I also don't know if it's just my body doesn't have the calluses for long distance running. Like there's probably a little bit of all of that.
I bet it's something. How small did you start?
I was running like 2 miles, 3 miles.
It's pretty small. I don't know. Maybe like, what do you think?
But like my feet would hurt and then I would be done for 2 days.
Is it like
my feet, my arches and my ligaments would be around the boardwalk?
Last week with
Couldn't walk
Evan,
for
we
2
were talking
days.
about like start smaller than you think at the gym if you're a beginner. Like start with the bar is the best place to start. Because you overdo it. It's very easy to overdo
Absolutely.
it.
I have to
so with
get my
running, like
threshold.
if you started out with like half a mile and then increased an eighth of a mile every day, would that be a better place to? Would
I
that
would
work?
increase it weekly.
Would that work?
So if you're starting out at half a mile and you have a time goal in mind, run that half a mile in that time goal and then rest the next day.
Would that help to
And
avoid
then-
injury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's try it.
Yeah, it's no
if I
different
get
than-
injured, I'm coming to talk to you.
You were wrong.
You're officially never
Try it.
coming on the
Well,
show.
I mean, the other thing is like shoes they're an important aspect of it, but they're not going to be the whole reason that your feet hurt. You know what I mean?
Unless your shoes are real bad.
Unless you're running in like work boots.
My feet, yeah. We'll talk about it more later, but yeah. Like if I overdo it, I can feel myself overdoing it, and then my feet are put me out of commission for like 2 or 3 days. Like, or I can barely
that
walk
bad,
on
huh?
them. Yeah. Anyway,
Like plantar
I'll figure it out.
fasciitis, or
But I do like it's actually the ligament on the outside. It's the ligament on the outside of your foot. Anyway, yeah, I'll show you later. But no,
Your
cycling.
ligament?
I like cycling. Like it's not the cardiovascular problem. Like I know that when my feet hurt, I could keep running. I know that like fitness wise, I can do that longer. It's just the pain. Yeah, it is frustrating because I would like to get into longer distance endurance stuff.
do the same thing on the treadmill?
Yeah, if I do it on the treadmill for long enough.
Same
Yep.
thing. Yeah,
Probably. I don't know how to run. Maybe it's my form.
It might
Maybe.
be.
Who knows?
I have struggled with like in my latter years here, whenever like getting into running, and then I'll have like my plantar fasciitis will flare up, which I shouldn't even say my plantar. I should say the plantar fasciitis that I recently developed in the last few years will flare up if I run.
Yeah.
Walk around the house, I'll just be sore all day. As long as I continue that running habit, I'm sore walking around the house. Waking up in the morning, it flares
Physical
up.
therapy, they say, takes care of a lot of issues. And when you have surgery, you do physical therapy to rehab those muscles to get them stronger and all that. I think that stretching and physical therapy at home through a YouTube video would probably help.
Do you have a fitness channel, Corwin?
What about steroids?
Do you have a fitness channel on YouTube? You want to
Do you have a
promote?
fitness channel? Corwin, do you
I
have a
just
channel?
have my family channel. It's
With lots of fitness videos on
there's
it?
quite a few, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, but what did I just say to you last time we were on the phone and you asked me to go for a run? What was I saying to you?
I don't know.
About-
You
about
need
your
to do a fitness YouTube channel.
What's the channel called? Corwin.
Adventures with the Christmans.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. That's where people can find
There's
it.
sweet yoga videos on there.
Yeah, there is.
Don't go
Or
too
you-
far in the archives.
You don't do anything not intense. That yoga video is 45 minutes long. Yoga's supposed to be
Dude
easy.
did P90X for like,
Dude, Tony
Forever.
Horton. Let's go.
I hate
Like a
it.
pterodactyl tracking out of trouble.
I hate it, but I love it. All right, dude.
I don't want to, but we got to wrap up.
Yeah, I feel like we
So
got
much
to. Otherwise, you're
fun,
going to end up
dude.
sleeping here.
I know. What time is it? Crazy.
So much fun. It's late.
Oh, it's only
Oh, it's
2
almost
in the
9.
afternoon.
Yeah, 2 in the afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
This is going to be a regular thing. We have too much fun when you're here.
Yeah, dude.
It's going to be a regular thing. And you're going to be close, so we'll have you on a bunch more times. But
Yeah.
thanks, dude.
super
This is
fun.
We can just like run here.
Yeah, we could. It's fun. It's fun. To
I
get
can make that
together.
run. That run I can
Yeah,
do.
you could. It's
Down
fun to
the-
get
down
together
the
and
stairs.
just talk about like fun stuff and like
Yep.
even the business stuff. Like I think there's such a need for just like real talking and like talking through stuff. And it's like so many different things. Like I've even thought about the same stuff, but when you sit down and talk with somebody else about it, it's like get different perspectives. It just helps you make a change in your mind of, okay, this is okay, or it's not okay. Or so it's fun to just talk.
Yeah. Hearing the different little customer oriented practices that you do that I think a lot of people would just write off, like really some good stuff in there that has given me a lot to think about and
Good.
how I could be a better communicator with our customers and stuff. So yeah, thanks. That's super valuable.
Yeah,
I find the way that you do it very valuable too. So
Yeah, and your
for
perspective
your
on fitness.
input.
You've been doing that a long time too. So I'm going to try to, I'll let you know how it goes. See how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for us, man.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks. Thanks for being so generous with your valuable time.
Heck yeah. Love it.
All right, man. We'll see you next time.
Peace.